time to get it. It's about time, not forgive it. It's about time. Never gonna give up, never give it up now. Never gonna stop, never gonna stop now. Whoa, you roll with me. Whoa, you roll with me.
Oh, well, can you believe it? NA is 4-0 this week. It feels like it's a pretty good time to be alive. We're back, baby. Hello and welcome to VCT Americas. Coming to you live from the Riot Games Arena in Los Angeles, California. Of course, I'm Golden Boy, and I'm here joined by two awesome people. We have Sideshow and Benita once again. And, yeah, I mean, what a day yesterday was, huh, Josh?
Yeah, we had some great games. Oof. We had some exciting stuff. And we still don't know who's going to playoffs.
That's right. That's right.
How crazy is that?
Amazing. Of course, let's talk about what happened and what we saw yesterday, because we kicked the day off with Sentinels and Crew both bringing out reworked rosters. Benita, we were a little worried about how this reworked Sentinels roster would work, but it seems it was just all guns blazing, top to bottom.
Yeah, it worked out for them. We saw Tens had a little bit of a slow start, but honestly, he finished off really, really strong. So they looked great at the end.
They also got away with it a little bit. This is the winless team that they were playing against.
That's true.
And they were fairly close games, actually. First one into OT, and then second one was, what, 13-10, I think the final scoreline being. So, yeah, still some things to work on, but maybe starting to find their footing and a vision for the future.
Well, listen, man, if you're a Sentinels fan, this was the World Championship, and they won it, okay? So, but all that being said, though, we're very much looking forward to seeing what happens with Sentinels moving forward. And then we have the next chapter in the ongoing saga of Loud and NRG. Sideshow, this matchup certainly did not disappoint. I think if you're a Loud fan, obviously you're a little frustrated with how things went out. But for NRG, what a season they've had. What a come-up.
Yeah, they've looked fantastic ever since going back to those original roles, the ones that they've been on for such a long time. They look fluid, they look dynamic, they have so many different ideas and strategies, they're always on the same page. And they had something to prove today. They had something to do, and that was to clinch playoffs, and they did it by taking down the undefeated team.
They just seemed super prepared for this match. Like, we knew that Loud didn't have to try anything new or cheeky, but NRG was just ready for the W.
Yeah, they were ready. It felt like they were poised to take that win, and they were so confident in it. The game plans, I mean, that first map was just a masterclass in calling from Finesse. Definitely one to go back and check out for sure. But, of course, that saga is certainly going to continue post-Americas. Now, as we head to the end of Week 7, we have 3 playoff spots that are still up for grabs. They're still available to you, all right? And right now, as it stands, Leviathan, 100 Thieves, and Furia, they're the ones that are sitting in the 4th, 5th, and 6th position. So I think if you are a fan of either of those teams, you want the season to end right now, Josh, wouldn't you?
Yeah, stop the count. Just end it here. Let's put these teams through. But also, look at that. If Leviathan end up losing today and they go 4-4, you've got a crazy 4-way tie in the middle, which has got to get broken down. Obviously, there's still more matches to be played, but there's a lot of parity in this league.
Yeah, there really is. You couldn't have asked for a better way for this all to play out. But let's actually talk about how the tiebreaker works, okay? So we're just going to keep, I want to say we're going to keep it simple, but there's a lot of words here, okay? So this is for your Reddit and VLR kids out there. Go ahead and screenshot it, put it on the internet, and then y'all can go ahead and figure it out your damn self. That being said, this is the rules for the 3-way tie. Sideshow, it's the head-to-head tie for 3 teams, as we can see. And on top of which, it's really just about figuring out how do we break that with how, as you had mentioned, the parity between these teams.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if there's a 3-way tie and one of the teams has beaten the other 2, then they go through. Otherwise, you move on to the next stuff, and it mostly comes down to map differential, right? Have you been winning more throughout the season? If so, bada bing, bada boom, you're through. So obviously, there's a lot more that goes into this if the teams are tied on maps and rounds and et cetera, et cetera. But there's the rules for you to take a look at. Now, the 4-way ties, though, that's where your head-to-head stuff kind of flies out the window.
This is the good stuff.
Yeah, but there is a serious chance that we have a multiple-team tie. Like I said, you look at the standings, there's so many teams that might end up being 4-5, possibly even 5-4 by the end of this. And a lot of that is going to come down to map differential. So basically, you don't have to think about this too complicated. You just have to think the teams not only need to win in order to put themselves in those ties, but they need to win as cleanly as possible so that they have the most maps for versus against.
Of course, of course. And if you didn't catch any of that, just don't worry. I'm sure Sideshow would do like a co-stream or something like that. He'll answer it again, okay? Because I know everyone's going to be confused about it again. But don't worry, we got you covered. Now, everyone here on the staff, as always, we all know this, they consume a ridiculous amount of Valorant content. And it's made all of us better players. I mean, surely it's made us all better players.
Surely.
Right? Right? Well, here's the thing. Josh, Sideshow, this young man right here, I guess, came to us and he had an idea. He wanted to study pro plays and strats, and then they wanted to go and replicate them in Premiere. Why? He's standing like that.
Because I know what's coming up, and I don't know whether it's good or whether it's bad.
Here's the thing. We have a 5-stack of the VCT's finest talent, and we wanted to recreate some plays like a classic Leviathan B retake on Lotus. Check it out. See, this is the play. All right, we're going to see how this plays out, right, Josh?
Yeah.
And you guys studied this.
Oh, we studied it religiously. Look at this. Dash, updraft, tackle with the shorty, shy right behind him, a pop flash through the smoke. It looks clinical. It looks precise. These are the things that teams love to see from Leviathan. The precision in terms of the protocols, Benita, immaculate.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Now I'm
Benita's
sure.
just like, what is blood waffling about?
Yours is close to a 10.
Well, let's go ahead and see what happened when our team tried to pull it off. Let's see.
We retake through here. We did a LEV retake.
Taking B.
Yeah. Let's go through. Let's go. Oh yeah. The Leviathan retake.
Yeah.
You need to be updrafting and shorty and all sorts.
They're out. They're out.
Flanking. 137 on the jet. Kill the jet first.
No, we can't. We don't have time.
Gone.
I'm trading Bala.
Bala doesn't need trading.
Main left
Holy
side.
It's a one-man army!
Sticking.
Oh!
Nice job, tackle me up.
Yo, good Bala.
Mid. This is our retake.
Somebody watch the flank. I'm about to break door. They just dogged door.
Let me flash you in.
We made a paranoid. Oh no, okay, yeah, you're flashing.
Go on, trade that. Get it in. Get in there. Get in there. And again.
Wait.
Hold on.
We're pushing that.
I nano deep.
Nobody got on the spike. Oh, you Collins.
I got it anyway. That was a great Leviathan retake.
I love the comms.
Doug should have left you hanging.
We won both of those retakes, and it's not a bad strat. I think our coordination might have been a little off, though, Benita.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of practice, but it was good. It was good.
Yeah, you know, I'm not here for this narrative that Sideshow is apparently good at Valorant, and thankfully, my good friend, my colleague, my partner in crime, Mimi, she posted a video on Twitter that shows really what his game looks like. Let's take a look.
No. I'm gonna help you by looking.
Amen in default.
Last player standing.
Amen. Where is my harbor? What are you doing?
You are flanking here with a jug.
Everybody type GG.
Attackers win.
Oh, that just to die to the turret?
Right?
Okay, we were 12-2 down. We'd lost like 8 games in a row of rank that night after going 0-2 in Premiere. I don't think, actually, that it's reasonable that production has shown that of me in my darkest moment. That is disgusting, actually. That's not okay.
You know what, though? This gives me a great idea, Josh. We want to see clips from you guys at home, but not the good ones. No, the Sideshow type clips, right? We want the whiffs. We want the bad plays. We want the Sag plays. Make us laugh, just like the way Sideshow makes us laugh each and every week.
Yeah, people laughing at me, though, not with me.
Use the hashtag VCT Americas and VCT, and maybe, of course, we'll feature your stuff here on the broadcast, but only if it's really bad. So get to it, people. But we are going to take a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, we're going to be diving into the final match of the week, another NASA showdown. It's going to be Cloud9 facing on Leviathan. We'll see you guys on the other side. Bye.
Verán igualmente la eliminación. A Josh que va a recibir, se lleva uno, consigue el segundo, es el tercero. Y con Chino, ¿quién consigue el cuarto?
You just have to be expecting that, knowing what's on the other side, but they're having such a hard time dealing with what's in front of them.
Welcome back, everyone, to VCT Americas. It's time to break down our final matchup of the week. It's Cloud9 versus Leviathan. Now, the stakes are different for both of these teams, right? Because Cloud9, they've already clinched themselves a playoff spot. They're good to go. For them, really, it's just being able to maintain this second-place position, Sideshow, so that this way their path is, not going to be as challenging for the playoffs. Whereas on the other side, Leviathan, this is a squad that is trying to cling to life, and this is the game that they need to do it.
Leviathan actually embody everything that's so crazy about Americas. They can finish in second seed, overtaking Cloud9 if everything worked perfectly, or they might not make playoffs. And that is bonkers. So if the standings ended right now, this is what playoffs would look like. So this is not how it's going to be. This is it simulated if we just stopped everything right now. And you would see that Leviathan would be in. 100 Thieves playing on the other side, Loud and Cloud9. And what's important here is the top two seeds, Loud, Cloud9 in their current positions, would only need to win one match to make it to Tokyo. Because if you get to match 8, you're already top 3. That qualifies you.
That's it. So you literally just need to beat the teams coming out of that quarterfinal, get to that point, and then you are on the path to Tokyo. Wild to think about. And if anything, it just, puts the pressure a little bit more, I think, Benita, on this Leviathan team. Or not, I think we know. Because, as Josh said, there's really the range is out of this world. Second to not making playoffs?
Yeah, the range is really, really big. But we know that LEV, they love their strats. They're really tactical heavy. And we know that they're going to be super prepared for this.
Yeah, they will be. They have to be. They have no other choice, especially when you have Coach Owner, calling the shots in the background there. We'll see, of course, what Leviathan can do when they take the stage. But I think we also have to ask ourselves the question of what version of Leviathan are we going to see today? Are we going to see the team that stomps their opponent, that look good and stunts on everyone out there? Or are we going to see the team, Josh, that at times struggles with identifying, how do we be flexible? How do we try and create some uniqueness in the mid-rounds?
Yeah, I think actually Leviathan have struggled a lot with that. I love the way that they play. I think their protocols, their game plans are excellent. Good. They are a really good team. But there is so much hard anti-stratting that happens in Americas.
Yeah, especially we're in week 7, so you have to be ready to understand how to mid-round call and make the audibles to adjust your strats. You cannot just go textbook strat round by round.
Well, and let's talk about that, Benita, because you've obviously been through the ringer as well, right, as a competitor. And I guess what I'm wondering is, each week, right, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to do something a little bit differently so that this way you could throw off your opponent for the next week? How does that work when you're prepping for these games?
Yeah, I think you have to add a little spice every time because you know that your opponent is watching you, and all these teams nowadays have 2 analysts, a head coach. There's so many staff. That it's easy to do the homework and prepare your players for these matches.
Yeah, there's so much film that's out there, and I think it goes without saying that you're going to need to really look at the star players to have to make huge waves here for these teams. One player in particular, Takalio's performance is split. At times seems like he is an animal on land, and then quiet, and then an animal. It's the same thing. He follows the same flow as Leviathan as a team.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. I think overall, what we've seen from Taco this year has been really subpar compared to what we were expecting. He did have a resurgence against Crew, but that's also Crew playing, they're the bottom team at the moment in terms of their win rates. Top 5 Jet players in Americas right now, you see Leaf in there too. You don't see Taco.
No.
There's no Taco up there, whereas he's got the quality and demonstrated the quality in the past, especially when he was playing Chamber, actually, to be on a list like this, but he hasn't shown it.
Yeah, when I think of a great Jet, Taco is definitely up there for me, but I think on LAN, under these lights and the pressure, maybe he hasn't just found
himself. Yeah. He hasn't acclimated to the atmosphere yet. And this was, of course, a tweet from Takulia saying, 1 to 2 at 100 Thieves. I cannot perform on stage. There is no excuse. Oof.
That's rough.
That is rough, man. I cannot perform on stage.
Yeah. Because not only does that tell you he's aware of his own issues,
for sure,
but it tells you he's getting in his own head about them too.
Yeah.
And that is a struggle. I know that this team, before Owner joined, were having a lot of that mental barrier problem, and Owner helped them a ton. Yeah. But it feels like this last piece, I mean, one of the last pieces to really push Leviathan into being an extremely dangerous team is Taco and getting him online.
For sure. And you said one of the pieces, but the other piece as well is King, right? Because King is one of those high impact players, but he's also calling. You really want him to step up, Benita, I guess in that instance, would be great for you here to step up and be the person that says like, hey, Taco, you're having a rough day, lean on me. Like, what are you hoping to see from King here?
You know, playing on LAN is like a skill on its own, but IGLing is like a different, like just a whole different world. And I think it's really important for him to try to activate his players like Taco and get him in there and build that like trust that they have in the scrims, because we know that their protocols are very, very scripted and very prepared. So they need to get activated within the rounds.
Yeah, and King is such a fantastic player. No one is disputing that. He's one of the best. But I've got a telestrator where I really want to break down what I think some of the problems with his calling style have been recently. And I'm going to start with these two issues.
Beautiful handwriting.
Right? Yeah, thank you. The two big Leviathan issues I want to break down are they've got predictable timings and they're doing the same things with their ults every time. So let's focus on the first thing first, the predictable timing. So let's take a look at this round overall. They are playing a 1-1-3 kind of setup. So they have one player there, 3 players there, looking to take some short control, and they're going to end A here. Now, what's important to notice is these timings on the regenerating utility. Faultline and Arrow were both used at 1:40 in the round. And what that means is, as you get back to the minute mark, they're going to start coming online. And if you take a look at the mini-map here, they are waiting, and they don't want to commit even after they've got all of these picks. And Cryo slips down as they're waiting for that stun and for that recon dart to come back online. Leviathan weren't holding any of this space. This has allowed these players to slip in, or just this one player actually of Cryo, to slip in down short, and he finds a timing not only to fight Shy, but again, finds Shy using utility. It's like they're trying to be too perfect.
Yeah, on an eco too.
Yeah, on an anti-eco. And Cryo just ruins this round by doing something puggy. Here it is again, okay? So we're gonna take a look at the fault line and the recon dart. These are used at about 1:30 in the round, and that is used to take garage control. That means that when they come back to this point in the round, if I just pause the timer here, at the 50-second mark, oopsie daisy, at the 50-second mark, that means that they have got the fault line and the recon dart back online again. They go for this C hit, and the whole of 100 Thieves start rotating because they just know that this is going to be an exec. And that, like, using early utility, waiting for them to come back online, and then executing. That's what they do on Haven. They've been doing it on Ascent for a long time too. They are calling strats out of a playbook. Stella reads it completely. So let's move on to point 2, right? Which is their ultimate usage. So in this round, they have Mazzino's ult, and they have Shy's ult. And what they do is exactly the same with these ults. It doesn't even really matter what the map is. So we're gonna have a look at the mini-map here. In all of their VODs, they use the lockdown in this spot right here. Mazzino is gonna ult into this spot if they go for a C hit, or sometimes he ults into Heaven if they go for an A hit. And they are so ready for it. I'm gonna play this one through, and you'll see that what happens is Mazzino is ulting into the back. They go for the garage play. This player in garage gets killed by a player hiding behind the box, and they actually go for a thrash. They are taking mid control, thrashing behind them as Bang holds for Mazzino. This is the hardest read of hard reads as to what is happening with the ults in this round. Mazzino dies. He does the same play when it comes to, you know, Lotus as well. Here's another example just to show you the final example. Let's take a look at the full screen. Mazzino has his ultimate. Asana's holding for it in Heaven. Asana is starting the round in Heaven to stop Mazzino's ult from coming through. And they also have, they know that this kind of area is also common for the ult. And you'll see that Derek backs up towards this position. Asana moves away as he realizes it's not at the start. And there it is, up at the top, Mazzino's ult. It ends up getting cancelled, and Derek's in a perfect position to completely stop the B hit. This game was close. This game was really winnable for Leviathan.
Yeah.
And they didn't close it out, and they're running the same strats. And this is not just on Haven, this is on Ascent as well. This is on Lotus too. There's got to be some more variety than this, Benita.
Yeah, watching some of these rounds, it looks like they are, you know, baking a cupcake. They're following a recipe, like, one by one, and it's very, you know, telling.
Yeah, because you have to freestyle sometimes.
It's one approach to, like, approach Valorant and, like, okay, we're doing this strat, and then we're going to do this protocol. If this happens, this happens. But especially on LAN, I think it's really, really going to benefit you if you need to spice it up. There's no other option, especially coming this deep like into week 7.
I could not agree more. That, of course, moves us on to their opponents, Cloud9. Now, Josh, I got to ask you, though, buddy, how are you feeling about this team going into the home stretch here? Because what a journey they have had from where they started to where they ended up.
Yeah, I think we've just talked about Leviathan and having all of those set plays.
Yeah.
Cloud9 have a bunch of set plays too, and they look gorgeous with them. The preparation is really good, but they're also doing different stuff all the time. They have varied compositions that they bring out on maps like Ascent. The players are popping off. Leaf is out here with his haircut looking fantastic on stage. You know, Zelsis' biceps are ripped.
Okay.
This team is out here going crazy.
Why don't you just marry them? You're not even talking about the game. You're just talking about them as people.
You are such a child.
Did you make this?
Yeah, I made this. I drew this, right? Because I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Cloud9. And I think it's so childish that you would say, marry this team if you like them. Well, I haven't heard that since middle school.
Yeah, I made you a cake. You see? You know, if I was such a child, would I have been able to make a cake?
I think children can bake, yeah.
Yeah, they probably can, but could they bake as good as this? And look, I even make cookies también, you see? Look, mira, Cloud9.
Thank you. You know, I do feel
so you can marry them.
I think they're playing the best Valorant right now. I will marry them. Why not?
So you're gonna marry Cloud9 right now if I dare you.
Yeah,
$500.
Why not?
Benito, bring us back to society.
I mean, great team. I agree with all your points, but I really do think that this might be a honeymoon phase for them.
Ooh. And the music's ramping up too.
This is definitely a honeymoon phase in my perspective. They've only experienced hardship 2 times, 2 L's, and I don't think that's enough to, you know, learn from their mistakes, challenge them, and see how like the 5 of them together interact with each other like within a loss.
And I would be concerned about that a little bit if they didn't just have to win 1 game to get it to Tokyo.
So true.
And because they've still got chances of being able to go through this is not going to happen. They're not going to be stuck in the basement regretting this marriage. Okay?
You know,
they're going to be happy forever, Golden Boy.
Just because you sign on the dotted line doesn't mean happiness is guaranteed, Josh.
Is that coming from personal experience?
Coming from my experience. Anyway, guys, look, I think everyone on Cloud9, though, has been feeling great this year, especially that guy, Leaf. He has been on fire. I haven't had a chance to look at the numbers, but I'm fairly certain at the very least, top 2 across the board in the Americas region.
He's number 1 in Americas for ACS. He just overtook Aspas yesterday when Aspas had a rough game.
Jeez, and it's just been all consistency from Benita. I know you have experience with Leaf. You actually played with him.
That's unbelievable. He's such a great player. I met Leaf maybe when he was like 15. I have known him from CS, and even back then, he was so good at the game. You could just tell by doing an eye test. Like, if you watch him, he is mechanically just there. He doesn't make many fundamental errors, and you could see that when you're watching him.
I just want to point out, these are his global ranks. This is compared to everybody else in all of the other leagues. You know, that's up against Durka and Safe and all the other people, Mako and you know, all of the other people around the world that are popping off. Leaf is at number 4. That's crazy good.
Yeah, he just like never really got his moment in CS, and now to see him here, like, I'm so happy for him. I think he deserves it so much. He's a student of the game, and it just really shows.
Yeah, every time we see Leaf play, it is truly spectacular. He's such a talented player. And of course, you know, you have players like Leaf and King that have really been the center of the year's most memorable moments. And we also got their perspective in this installment of Retakes. Check it out.
Look at them pushing all the way through. Paranoia, no, they push back and right into them. Could be a bit of a trap play because they're not expecting it. The knives in his hands and 4 kills. Ripped away.
Ooh, baby. I forgot about this round. We got very fortunate. The Killjoy turret went down at B. We were going to gamble and just 3-push B main anyway. But, I mean, I felt like I didn't expect that many people catwalk, to be honest. I expected like 3, not 4. I mean, it's only 1 more, but still, I expected 3. And then, I don't know, the util was just perfect from the people on A. The mollies and the alarm bots to delay, and then the paranoia to push them back. And then, obviously, I just hit my shots, but it was very nice.
Cat does. One more, two.
Oh!
Maybe a min. I'm flanking him in min. I'll dog, hook cat.
I would have whiffed all my knives on the first guy, probably, to be honest. Yeah, that's the reason why I don't play Jet.
I feel like I perfectly kind of dodged like the bullets. Like I literally dodged the op shot with my jet dash and stuff like that. So it's like, I feel like it was just kind of in the moment, like kind of perfect.
Mazzino's got behind enemy lines! King's gonna have to hold it on his own. He's gotten one. The time is short. He's got to hold it. He's got to hold it. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! The Red Bull clutch, and we're going to overtime.
Digo, siento que la jugué bien porque estaba en una situación 3 vs 1 y sabía que no la podía defusar nadie porque estaba con veneno y humo, si no me equivoco. Entonces sabía que los otros dos jugadores se iban a desesperar y me iban a querer buscar los choques, porque la única manera en que ellos podían ganar la ronda era holdear el defuse y no poder soltarlo, porque si lo soltaban un segundo perdían.
Yeah, I have a shorty, couldn't kill him. I want to say we didn't have time. I'm pretty sure the spike, I'm very certain the spike would have went off before we even could have defused, so. He played it well. His teammates before that, whoever the Harbor was, it was Mazzino. Played this, he snuck in and got it, like the super important kill. Which delayed us like big time.
Arriba, Kanege.
No saca. Mate. ¿Qué está sacando?
El defuse.
La bomba.
King tiene una especialidad que es su movimentación cuando juega, cuando dispara. Como que dispara hacia el lado y se mueve mucho. Y eso le ayuda mucho a conseguir multifrag. Y eso fue lo que pasó acá. Estaban los tres en la spike tratando de defenderla y su movimentación hizo que ganaran la ronda.
You just can't hit him, he just keeps moving. He's like sliding. He's like Michael Jackson, like Thriller moonwalking all over the place while he's shooting you. That's it.
Nothing so far that Cells could do. At least a kill. A second one from Vegeta. That's a spike though. Not yet a halfway. Vegeta gets the third kill. A 2 vs 2. Can he actually get it done? A fourth headshot onto Takamo. A 1 vs 1. He gets the ace.
Cara, eu não sabia muito bem o que esperar, que normalmente eu nem compro xerife nesse pistol. Só veio na mente, já tava 10-2, eu falei, vou comprar uma xerife aqui. A gente costuma brincar nos freeze times de que se alguém matar 5 no pistol, o coach vai raspar a cabeça. E na hora que eu ganhei, eu já falei agora, na hora, você vai raspar a cabeça, porque eu matei o 5. Foi só isso que passou na minha mente na hora, que você vai raspar a cabeça.
Orb down. Blind. Yeah! Nice! Let's go, Riot! Let's go, Riot. Godlike. Kaplan going bald. Holy shit. Kaplan's going bald. You're gonna save the Kaplan's saving his head.
Não, teria ficado maluco mesmo. A calma dele foi algo que eu sempre admirei muito, sabe? Tipo, cada kill é um kill, ou seja, mata um, espera, mata outro, espera, mata outro. Foi algo que sempre falei para ele, que eu tenho muita admiração por isso. Cara, eu acho que os dois players que estavam jogando pra dentro do bomb poderiam ter jogado mais junto, talvez buscado tentar isolar uma briga. Depois que isso daí aconteceu, os dois caiu, era guerra, não tinha muito o que fazer, eu tinha que buscar os kills. Eu consegui e não tem muito mistério, só fui buscando os frags.
If there's one thing that we know about VCT Americas is that each and every week we are treated to banger after banger after banger. And let's go ahead and close out week 7 just like that. You couldn't have asked for a better way to wrap up the week than these two teams. Let's welcome to the stage Cloud9 and Leviathan. This stream contains fast-flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised.
Everyone was talking about him, and this is going to be the guy to look out for.
Too much Cryo again. Does this guy miss? Does Cryo ever miss? No, he doesn't.
Esse é um homem, fez. Escala bem, faz duplo abaixo.
Coming into the season, we're the underdogs, and because we had 2 new players, we put more time in. Every game, we trade a playoff match, and because we want to win. There's no losing.
Huge out from Jake, huge out from Rooney. FRC and RGL are both weak. That's FRC dead. Buys time for Zeppa to get the third.
Motivado para enfrentarlo, le tengo mucho respeto a todos los players.
This feels like Taco's going to have him one of those games.
Yeah, the defensive walls up at the same time. You got a Judge on the other side, a Nade coming in here too. Oh no.
Que lo he visto jugar y siempre están un paso adelante de lo que quiere hacer el equipo enemigo.
People believe we like hard anti-strat teams, but like I think it's us adapting on the fly.
And there are only 2 playing back, and they're going to get run over.
Y eso, que vamos a darlo todo, que sea un buen partido y nada, necesitamos esa victoria, así que vamos con todo.
King got in sight with him on elbow.
And he got the kill on it too.
Okay.
He gets the second. 6 bullets left as he looks for the third, and it delivers.
All right, everyone, welcome back. I know I said that we were going to welcome the teams to the stage. Slight delay. Don't worry, though. We will be on our way in no time. For the time being, though, I think it does raise the question. We were seeing what King was saying there. What are going to be some of the things that Leviathan need to do here? I know we talked about the way that they, call their plays, the way that they do their ults. What are the keys to victory here, Josh?
Well, to me, it comes down to 3 things. 1 is getting Taco online, right? We talked about that. 2 is refreshing their playbook a little bit. And 3 is making sure that they are able to navigate the challenges that Cloud9 have. You heard Leaf talk about how good they are at cooking up set plays. If they can't get around that, they're not going to get the win.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think that it goes without saying that this matchup is going to be exciting for multiple reasons. For Leviathan, it's about being able to stay in control of your own destiny, make the playoffs. For Cloud9, it's about being one step closer to Tokyo. So let's go ahead and welcome to the stage C9 and Leviathan. Cloud9, it's about getting that win and getting one step closer to Tokyo. And for Leviathan, well, it's just about securing the dub here today and hoping that the shenanigans doesn't happen in the rest of the league. You really, Sideshow, are banking on the fact that for Leviathan, they absolutely cannot allow Cloud9 to control their own destiny. They have to be the ones to pick up this win here today. They have no choice, in my opinion.
Yeah, think about what Leviathan are going up against here. They're going up against Cloud9, and then they're going up against Loud. That is 2 out of 3 of the best teams, and I'm not even saying top 2 because NRG did so well yesterday. But really, that is as difficult as a schedule gets.
And you're in a range where you can either get second or end up in 7th or 8th or something like that. It's just absurd.
It's truly ridiculous. But I think Leviathan have all the pieces to be able to win. I really, really believe that. They are a top-level team. They have just done too much of the same stuff for the last few weeks. I think as long as they've been in the lab, and frankly, it's almost like a bye week they had against Crew. I know that sounds really harsh, but they've had like an extra week where they're playing against an opponent they know super well from LATAM, that they are heavily expected to destroy. They can use that week to prep for, not just prep for Cloud9, but just update things a little bit. Experiment with letting Mazzino and Shy off the leash, lurking just a slight amount. Don't do everything just by the script.
Yeah, I think Lev, if they keep it a little just more on the simple side of things, they're going to rack up some round wins here.
Yeah, and I want them to kind of play to their strengths here, right, Benita? But you also do want to see at least some kind of flexibility on their side, right? You feel like that's going to be necessary against C9?
Yeah, of course. I think they need to, like I said earlier, just spice it up. Put some sprinkles on top of their cake.
Yeah.
You know.
Keep it simple. Don't overcook it.
Yeah.
But add a little spice where you can. You know, it's a lot like my chicken dish that I made last night.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the Cloud9 cake. It was, you know, it was refined, elegant, excellent. What we want is like a ginger spice cake from LEV.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Something.
Give me a real kick. Give me a nice sloppy tres leches. You know, that's what I want. In any case, I just want cake now. Let's go into these map vetoes and figure out where we're going to be playing. First and foremost, we saw that first ban go through, I believe, Fractures #2, but first, I think, was Ascent.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. No, it was Pearl.
Sorry.
Cloud9 have been getting rid of Pearl most of the time. It's also at the top of Leviathan's map pool, which makes this a really difficult match to win overall. And Cloud9 go for Lotus. Leviathan did look really good on Lotus. I love the
I like Cloud9 more on Lotus, though.
Cloud9, Leaf, it just controls the game on that map.
Yeah, Leaf on Neon is just unstoppable sometimes. What can you do at that moment?
I know.
They're going into Haven and all of those things I was talking about with the protocols and the way they play.
That's where we're going to have to see some uniqueness from Leviathan.
Yeah. But honestly, I just used Haven as an example. They do similar things all the time on Lotus, on Ascent, on Pearl, on the other maps that they play too. And they actually are going to remove Ascent. This used to be the best map for Leviathan. And they've been beaten on it so many times that they're deciding to get rid of it and end instead on Bind. A map where we just don't know what is going to be happening.
We haven't seen C9 on Bind, so this will be a really interesting one.
How do we feel this plays out? We didn't get predictions. Benita, who do you think is going to win?
Oh, I'll give it to C9, 2-0.
So, 2-0 C9. So Lotus and Haven will be 2-0. What about you, Josh?
I think Cloud9 can win this, and even if they don't win 2-0, they're actually favored in the final map of Bind too. I just think Leaf and Zeppa are going to go crazy on that map.
Yeah, it's hard to say 2-0 for me. I do like the ambition there. I think 2-1, but hey, stranger things have definitely happened in the Americas League. But now we wait for the agent select to come through, and it's Lotus. So really what our eyes are going to be on is whether or not Leaf is going to run that Neon or not.
Which has looked amazing. Every team that's been playing Neon has been getting success out of it. Oh, and there is a huge difference.
That's big.
Taco goes back to Raze. He only played a little bit of Raze at the beginning of the year. It didn't look good, and since then he's been permajet, basically.
Yeah, but there's an opportunity here. Takalea, if maybe he just needed a change of pace in order to wake up, Benita. That could have been the recipe for them.
Yeah, I think they're going to really hold the Raze util for the aggression. So that's why they need.
All right, well, we're going to be
swapped.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to be keeping our eyes on that one there. And send it over to your casters. Now, I know I'm still in my honeymoon period with Doug and Bala.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy Bala. An opportunity in the hands of Cloud9 to sweep the NA versus South American weekend that we've had so far.
Yeah, it has been a big one coming into this. There was 5 matches. This is the final one out of 5, and it has probably the highest stakes out of everything, especially for Leviathan over here. For Cloud9, like the Death said, this is a chance to lock in that top 2 space. So essentially for them, it must feel kind of like a step in that playoff direction.
Yeah, certainly some heavy stakes really for both squads here. And again, to think that this is a position we find ourselves in so late into the season, such low expectations for Cloud9. They've subverted all of them. They now find themselves just a little bit away
Fast push here from
at least number 2, potentially number 1. That early aggression from Leviathan instantly dissuaded.
And Cloud9 instantly reacting off of that breaking of the turret to take so much A space. Now they have all the room to go for a fast hit with the Trailblazer. But the turret was left here for Mazzino to play with.
Panel gets broken through. You've got Zelsis playing on the other side of this alarm bot. He gets pushed off, clears it out. Now they funnel in towards B, making Leviathan resources scatter.
No damage exchanged except on Nosworth. Pushing the waterfall though, and King avoids the flash. He gives up the space, which is a dangerous game to play when the spike is planted. He ran all the way back on the C site.
He got bullied. Just got bullied away. And Paranoia is going to help things a little bit. Mazzino's able to get the first. Traded back, though. Cloud9 still with control of the site. You've got Zeppa, who's gone exploring. He may hit an incredible timing here while you still have the other 3 members of Cloud9 playing from main.
And you've got another Molly on that, too.
Really good opportunity for delay here. because they aren't, I mean, they're not even on it. They just now got on it. That first flank now dealt with. It's all going to be the fight up front. And it's all going to go in favor of Cloud9.
What a scattering from the Leviathan players. Just immediately, I mean, ceding the site and falling so far away. Just in the sense of time there, you're losing so much of it and allowing that flank coming in from heaven and not denying any of the utility from going down on the Cloud9 side. That is an interesting decision, but one that Leviathan, I mean, I kind of expect from them. So often you're seeing the discipline on the players to fall back and go in for full retakes, but here's non-discipline. They're going to go all straight up into A main and try to duel against players of Cloud9. It's quiet, though. I like this.
Element of surprise still in hand, and it's just dismissed. Cool idea. And really, the only thing you can do in a situation like that, after you lose a pistol, you're down on guns, you're not really forcing anything, you just try to catch them slipping, so to speak.
Yeah, I like this approach from Leviathan, though, because it is out of their element. Like, normally their eco strats, they go for some gimmicks, like what we just saw, but it's more to do with like a util trap or something like that. Other than that, they go for widespread normal play. So see them mixing it up almost twice so far.
They're not really known for being brawly. Shy with nowhere to go. Stuck between a molly and a hard place, and now Taco's in equally as bad position.
And it's going to be really interesting to see how Taco can find value on this race.
Sky, get us to a good position.
Because he's been playing so much Jet. And like Josh said at the top, actually all the deaths was mentioning how he wasn't even in consideration for the top 5 Jet players in Americas when he's playing so much of it. So swapping onto this Raze, see how comfortable he is, see whether he can actually find some value based off of the rest of the util, because there's not really any combinations here for the Raze and the composition. But obviously it's just such a powerful tool no matter what. Boombot, nade, all of that. And he's gone immediately.
Dead instantly. You're just talking about all the tools that he had. And they're just not around long enough. Neither are Cloud9.
How have they just managed that? They had 2 players committing in an all-in situation because Mazzino couldn't TP out. And they lost the first fight.
Rooney's gonna have to win this one too, but he's caught reloading.
I mean, you don't expect King to have just crept all the way back into tree when the rest of his teammates just played, again, an all-in situation down in Rumble. That one is surprising for Cloud9 to lose, given the first pick. And also, I think the util went really nicely for them, but it was Nosworth. Yeah, that's just really, really nicely handled.
He almost got the third there.
And Mazzino's able to trade that one, so.
Right.
Interesting to see Cloud9 kind of force through that after they get the kill. It's Cloud9 as a team, yeah, they push their advantages, but who can also show the ability to stop. Oh, fast again into C, and there's 3 players here.
2 now. Taco once again, first death. I believe is up to 6 or 7 kills already, if I'm not mistaken. And the round is far from done. Still 2 targets that he could take, but it seems like they're already starting to scatter and save.
Yeah, I mean, no, the 2 targets that are still alive. Those 3 kills happen so fast are the players who are planning to aggro out of Leviathan. And you have the 2 anchors on the other side of the map. You have the Killjoy, you have the Viper, those who rely on setups of their own making. They're not going to be able to walk into a retake.
No, not in a situation like that.
And so Zelsa's hunting, everybody hunting from Cloud9 right now. They're looking to strike back instantly after losing that bonus.
I thought it was at first just going to be Zelsis, but you're right. Everyone's looking for a second helping, an extra course of the meal that they just made out of Leviathan in the opening moments of that round. We'll see if they're able to keep those weapons. You know, I want to go back to the Taco conversation, because I think it's interesting too to see him on that Raze, where if you go back to the beginning of the season when Kesnet was on Leviathan, there were conversations around Kesnet versus Taco, who's going to play the star role, and is it going to be using both, because Taco historically struggled on Raze. So for him to be here with the stakes so high on this role is just, it's full circle.
Yeah, really interesting. I think the conversation at the, I mean, the meta has shifted in such a way that it is fine to lock Jet. It's fine to play in that situation. So funny to see them shift when, again, I don't see too much of the combinations coming in through here. I was expecting an eco out of Leviathan here, but they seem to be adopting the light armor strat, which is very nice. Adaptation towards the end of the season.
Bulldog for Nazar. That's really it.
So with the 2-gun save, they're able to actually buy up here. And in a way that they honestly can get 3 hero rifles next round if they want to. Even if they lose. But all the util popped by Shy immediately here.
And now he's left alone. All he's got is his gun.
Wow. And Leaf's not going to be laughing at that. He got 2 easy kills last time, and I think he was starting to think that they were not going to be prepared against the Neon and the speed that he can break timings with. Right there, obviously he didn't use that to his advantage, but still goes down.
Looked like he did spot Celsius for just a moment. The Seekers are going to be used from pretty far back. And I imagine Leviathan are going to want to use that to funnel out onto the side, off the back of the Paranoia, off the back of the Cabbages, follow and fill in on the space that's been left. Taco still up in heaven. Wow. Never made his way out. King is finding more value. But it's just Rooney and King now.
One enemy remaining.
Both controllers. 1v1. Rooney, first shots go a bit wide. He's going to get a second shot at this. Unless King just sticks it the whole way. He's gotten it to half. He's gotten it 3/4 of the way. Pulls off and Rooney gets the 1v1.
Bold. But you can't do that to Rooney, the guy who was clutched by just sticking the defuse so many times.
Yeah, he knows those timings.
I've heard the Cloud9 players talk about how often they were just getting away with sticking because so many players were disrespecting it. So happy to see there, Rooney actually living up to the word. Taco's struggling so far, and in ways that, I mean, it's certainly speaking to his confidence because he is trying to take some of these fights, and he's just not hitting so far. And he's been involved in a lot of these first engagements. You saw him actually get into position to use the nade to clear there on the retake. So that's the part of place where you have to see him alive because otherwise he's not getting value from the boombot, from the nade. They swapped both anchors onto this side. This might be more difficult for Leaf to get through.
Do they have the utility that will pave the way? Ow. King's already the first to fall.
He just TP'd up. There was no flash to actually push King out. And King's trying to battle and he still loses.
Yeah, just complete disrespect. That's also the Jake that we've seen so many times this season that people have fallen in love with. When you deliver in instances like that, there's plenty to love. You've got Mazzino who's starting to creep his way into the site, and as soon as he gets forward, he drops. Unable to survive in the pit. I don't know that Leviathan have a way into this.
No stopper. That's the way in. Is he going to use it, though? They have to play so far back, so he's expecting it and falls before even using it.
Ult never goes off, and now just 2 around. A Spectre, a Stinger.
Player standing.
And they both find something. Rooney's left in this 1v1 again. Another clutch situation, but Shy's not going to have time.
Yeah, there's no time here. Took way too long again. Yeah. Bring it back to that very first round. And the retake for Leviathan. How slow it was at coming back into that site on the B. They gave up so much space. This time, they give up space in the form of the Viper's Pit, right? It's not necessarily like a whole site or anything like that. They're not losing map control, but they are losing the space that that pit controls. And I think they did a good job setting Taco up around the pit, where he double satcheled actually into that backside of the box, which is not covered. He clears some space that way in a novel way, but he's not able to collapse with his team. There's nobody ready for him to go. And Leviathan was so good when it came to this map early on in the season. Like when you think about the game against NRG, which they took, the game against Sentinels, they were so good at just retaking every single round. Oh no.
There's the ult. Yikes.
And if that's not Leaf, they're reading the situation so well. I don't know what to say.
Placing swarm grenade.
They literally were postured for a push. From the beginning of the round, he was already in that corner. Because of the util that got sent out, because of the Omen smoke, all that sort of thing. And I like how Zeppa was saying they don't anti, but I think one thing they do is take huge advantage of little protocol mistakes.
Going to take advantage of the fact that they have the numbers lead, and they're going to go exploring B. You're going to get all the way up into tree, courtesy of Jake's ult.
I mean, they're farming so many orbs too here.
Leaf uses his ult, who has no armor, but Look at how well they're zoning off any attempted an approach from Leviathan.
Sure, but Leviathan players are here this time. How much damage is he already getting?
A lot.
Oh, this flank.
Dude, they're 2 steps ahead of Leviathan.
Every time.
I mean,
such a good wide swing as well to actually isolate Shy and force Nazar to have to wide swing to catch up.
One enemy remaining.
Leviathan have kept it interesting by getting into these like 1v1, 1v2 situations late in rounds, but you think about the first 90% of the round, it's all Cloud9.
It's so fast too. It's incredibly fast here on Lotus. Most of the time we've actually seen them starting on this defensive side. But now on the attack, you see it just as dominant. This team is just so good with this composition. And I mean, bringing it back to the beginning of that round, obviously, that was a slow approach. Obviously, they were looking to counter that A main pressure. But every single play out of Taco just gets denied. Yeah. Taco already has 3 first deaths.
He has as many kills as his team has rounds. He struggled.
And Timeout's going to have to try to find a way to get him back in this. Again, we've seen slow starts out of Taco. Sometimes he just comes alive. But this is such a different role now. And that's why the focus is a little bit on how he can actually find impact, because shifting that agent, obviously, has a big factor. Cloud9 is denying everything from him. The showstopper play is... It's a nice idea. You're going with the dog, but he doesn't check his corner. That would have been a free kill on LEV, by the way. When it comes to the star duelists, Cloud9, I mean, they have such a big focus on that. Which is hilarious because Cloud9 has, in their roles, so many situations where the star duelist isn't even playing duelist. Like, LEV doesn't play every single game as the Jet or the Neon. Sometimes Zeppa's coming in for that. So when you think about a team trying to do that to them, it's so much harder. This is brutal for a start here at Leviathan. They're still going to get a bye together. A bit scrappy, but Util's still there. And wow, I mean, did he just slide out? No, he didn't even slide out. Just used a little bit of speed to get there before Mazzino really expected it. And Mazzino's shouldering. I need to see that on replay.
As soon as the gate went down. So did his HP. That was wild.
And they're already on the site. I mean, they're going to plant here with 25 seconds into the round. That's absurd.
This might feel like the paciest of what we've seen so far. They're just so quick on the trigger. They're so decisive. And to go back to the point you were making, it just feels like a staggering juxtaposition relative to how Leviathan have played things individually and as a unit.
And you have to imagine coming out of the timeout there, owner's not going to be happy with that. None of the players are going to be happy with that. They had a plan to come back into this. They just talked about the adjustments, and either those adjustments failed or the steps before getting even to those adjustments are still problematic. I have to see that first kill from LEV because it was just so fast, staggering the speed.
Go, go, go!
Yeah, we'll see if we get a chance to look at it once more.
Did he not reload that entire round? What's going on there? Oh, the stun is disgusting too.
Go, go, go!
It's just nasty. It's a double-pronged stun where it stuns up close and then also deep on that shoulder peak angle. So Mazzino doesn't really know what to do because that's landing late. He's peeking into it, all of a sudden it hits him. And it gives him that split extra second to actually find the head. These little things from Cloud9 are just insane. Again, when they see a gap in the protocol, when they see a gap or a mistake happening from one of the teams, they're able to abuse it so well.
They just press into where it hurts. And that's another opener for Cloud9. Another instance in which Taco just has to watch the rest of the round. LEV already with 2.
He's up to 6 first kills in this game.
Yeah, LEV is just having his way with everything.
Toxins going up.
How demoralizing can it be?
And it's just the beginning.
Leviathan are in a weird situation where it feels, I mean, they need to get a win out of these next two teams. It feels like the deck is stacked against them. They have Loud and Cloud9. And they've got to get a win to keep this like in their hands to clinch playoffs. Otherwise, they're going to tie breaks. They have a chance to miss playoffs. They really do. And right now, they're getting dominated in this first map. The demeanor has shifted so much. You can see players on stage right now still trying to hype themselves up, but it's sheepish. Another save. At this point, Leviathan Classic.
Hey, he just like walked, he just disregarded, disrespected the wall.
And he's doing it on all sides of the map. I mean, he's gotten a kill on C, he's gotten a kill first on A, walks into B. It's like every single round you have to like readjust. Oh my goodness, our A hold is not working against him. Oh my goodness, our B hold is not working against him. Let's put our Killjoy util there. And you can see, look, it's all stacked up there now. Which finally might actually be the right call. Seekers pop instantly just to figure out, is this actually, can we push back this A hit?
But they used the Trailblazer from Cloud9 to get all of that utility that you were just referring to. They've cleared out the turret and they weren't able to. Now they've cleared the Nano and the other alarm bot.
I wonder if Zalsis threw his own Nano there.
Very possible. They've left Mazzino up close. Taco, not far off.
There we go. Oh, but the TP might get punished. Wow, he's actually taking the risk to go all the way back into A because Taco was left alone there. While the Viper wall was up, but he could have gotten sprayed down.
Cover going out.
And we finally have a round where Leviathan in advantage. They've taken down Zalsis.
Can they convert on it in a situation where Cloud9 really hasn't made a full commit to where they want to go? And that's going to open things up a lot, man. A free kill like that, a Paranoia to swing out and challenge Heaven. Forcing Noswer to take a step back.
30
forcing
seconds left.
Taco to join up with them.
Spike plant.
Is this another save?
I mean, the money's not great.
No, I mean, at this point, you have to be trying to take risks to win this.
This way.
You have to.
Yeah, you just, I mean, you're absolutely right. You can't play safely any longer. Staring at this deficit, Leviathan starting to work their way out into the site. Taco falls, but it's traded back, a 2v2. We haven't seen these in a couple of rounds. They've been so decisive from Cloud9.
They're off of smoke yet. This is actually tough.
This is Spamble angle. Oh, he's just off of it. He's just off of it. Mazzino down low. He gets 3, and Leviathan are going to get another round.
There's that patient retake with time and forcing your opponents to get stuck in their risks. Their Cloud9 goes deep into Heaven. And because of that, this smoke from Mazzino is, I mean, just beautiful. To recognize we've cleared everybody on site. And then as well, Noswer, the guy who died up in Heaven, able to make that communication call. Very nicely done from Leviathan, just in time. And even still, you're thinking, Cloud9 is so good on defense. They're still thinking, honestly, go next. This is so tough. Leaf gonna go for it. Same stun from before. And you can see that almost caught Mazzino.
Gotta go.
They're so quick at rotating once there is that A main pressure from the defense. Once they recognize there's a flash out of Noswer and Mazzino, they're able to pivot so fast. And they've just pulled rotates off with 30 seconds into the round. Pressured and gotten info on all 3 sites. And Taco right now in trouble. He's alone on this B side. He has the alarm bot to play against, but he's gonna face up against the full force of Cloud9, and Leaf has been dominating him. 4-0 so far in those first engagements. For Leaf against Taco.
Poison's off. Been tough sledding for him for sure.
This is their 3rd pivot right here, Doug.
Back to where they started, and back where Mazzino has been left the entire round. And he's instantly spotted.
I wouldn't be surprised to see them pivot again, but yeah, with the showstopper, 35 seconds. The crazy part is if you see any other team do this, you're saying this round is over. They don't have time. They have time.
I mean, they have ample time. That's not going to feel good, though. Those 2 nanos still hadn't been cleared. And Shy's able to hold them back. Lined up for him. It's just Jake now. He's got Spike, but he's being surrounded. He's going to get dropped.
And I love how Leviathan played that round.
Last round in the half.
One of the great things they did, you saw it in the previous, where you actually had Zelsis walk up into B, they broke the turret, they broke the mollies, they broke the alarm bots. In this round, every single portion of the map was actually faced before they could go up and walk up and break util. So all these nanos are still here, the alarm bot's still on B, all that sort of thing was working for them, and then they still denied as well. That showstopper on A, key for Mizzino to spot for. Those protocols worked, and they put them together in a pinch because I don't think they're in their strat book at this point.
Taco is so far up.
He's dead.
He's so dead.
5-0.
So numbers once again for Cloud9. The opportunity to close things out in 9-3 half. Leviathan have Shy's lockdown to work with.
So close.
Yeah, it dealt some damage. Now they know where Mizzino is. Try to deal with him accordingly. Meanwhile, if the timing is right on the swing from stairs, it could be good.
Oh, he's not
there it is. Do they know they're on it? Oh, I think he just got spotted. Yeah. The pit's gonna go. Oh, I thought that pit was gonna go down instantly. Talk about timing on a swing.
Look at the pit though. What is that? He placed it on the rope and it's going into spawn.
Yeah, that's a wonky one. Cloud9 just seems so drilled and so disciplined right now. The timing off of the swings that they're taking around each other's gorgeous.
Switching sides.
They just have a beat on things.
This is such a dominating half. You're right. They've got a read on it. Their players are playing well.
Not ready yet.
Everything flowing for them.
Still a couple smiles from Cloud9, or from Leviathan, excuse me. Earlier, we spoke with King. Speaking of which, to get his take on the opposition today, the #1 NA squad, Cloud9. Take a listen.
Yo sabía que tenían un core fuerte, que son Cepa, LEV y Celsius, son jugadores muy buenos. Y cuando añadieron a sus dos nuevos jugadores, que son Jake y Rooney, creo que todos, literal, todos quedaron sorprendidos con la sinergia que lograron como equipo y nada, ahora se ven uno de los equipos más fuertes de la liga y nada, motivado para enfrentarlo. Les tengo mucho respeto a todos los players y eso, que vamos a darlo todo, que sea un buen partido y nada, necesitamos esa victoria, así que vamos con todo.
It's interesting to listen to King talk as you see him on screen again, the leader for Leviathan, and his expectations of Cloud9 and how they have surprised everyone, including Leviathan, including all the players, on how well they've performed throughout the year, and now they find themselves on the receiving end of this cocktail of Cloud9 just dominance.
Yeah. I mean, you hear the respect constantly given from Leviathan to some of these other teams. It was the respect they garnered themselves, but I mean, just to get back to what he was saying, yeah, nobody expected the synergy. The level of play from Cloud9 is so crazy given the situation that they had at the beginning of the season. That's so far behind us now that we see the scoreline and we say, yeah, this is normal. It's normal. 9-3. And something I was trying to get at the beginning of this too, in that first half, is that was the attack side from Cloud9. Normally they're starting on defense, and we get things like, we get the stats on defense. They're the best defensive team on this map. They're so good at their retakes. Best retake percentage in the league. Best on the gun rounds. Everything. Best. Because this is an attack-sided map. But they always come out with dominating halves. Last week we had that ridiculous one from them when they went up against MIBR. There's just little chance here. Let's see what Leviathan can do. Because like you're saying, still smiles on that side. They've got a long way to go. Not only on this map, but in this series.
Noswor's Trailblazer are going to be the first on site, with Taco satcheling close behind. So they've gotten out onto B, haven't committed to the spike plant yet, but you see the Nanos already set up to defend against the defuse.
That dog got way farther than it should have. And there's no map control here from Leviathan. They're gonna have to go for late A flanks, which Cloud9 are actually clearing out already the site.
They've already taken care of the nanos that were there. Actually, you see it popped, but if they're not pacey on this, Cloud9 are gonna flood out before Leviathan know what's hit them.
They have to fight through a Viper wall right now. They have to rely on Taco's nade as the last line of defense, and he's down.
This is what so much time for that flank that you mentioned just a few seconds ago. King's timing is great. Shy's close by. And Zeppa with 10 HP and way too many targets.
There for the first time. I think Cloud9 made the wrong read on exactly how Leviathan were playing. I think they were shocked that there was nobody on the site. I think they were shocked that there was nobody already in B-Link or trying to flank A by the time they took the site. That they thought for sure there's something else going on here, and they wanted to fight the post plant head on. But honestly, if they had just waited it out, put their Viper wall up, they would have gotten that round. Instead, they challenge and they lose a lot in the process. And they lose the pistol. Leviathan with a full not V-buy here. 2 rifles, 2 ghosts, 1 Spectre. They're looking to balloon this pistol round win into coming back into this game. They've done a lot of work on the economy management. To be able to fight in situations like this, you could tell the approach is different.
There's that one Vandal dealing some damage. Early exploratory mission by Zelsis gets turned away. It just seems like they're holding. You see where King is playing, making sure there's no one pushing rubble. You have Shy who's waiting, making sure there's no pushing mid, and they just dropped an alarm bot too, so you imagine he's going to want to move off of that position here very shortly.
Josh did a telestrator breaking down the timings of Leviathan. On this one, it's not so much, on this composition, it's not so much about the recyclable cooldowns of the Sova Dart or the Breach fault line like he was talking about on Haven, but it's more about the fuel and the cycles for them to have all that up.
Dude, Rooney, how on earth did Rooney get that kill?
As long as Leviathan are able to recover the 2 rifles, everything is okay when it comes to this sort of round and approach from them. But they must stay alive with 2 to keep those up.
Last player standing.
Rifle finding value, as you were just saying. So they have 1. They have a position to pick up the other.
Nosser's actually going all the way waterfall right now.
here.
The gun is down inside of B-Link. And that's where he's coming back right now to pick it right back up. Oh my goodness. So it's not clean, but it's not the worst situation in the world. 1 player might not be able to buy up. Because again, only 2 players with pistols. I mean, that is nasty from Rooney. Happy we got to see that.
Enemy remaining.
Trailblazer took him down, but I mean, you take 2 already? And we actually haven't even seen in this Cloud9 getting a thrifty round win because we haven't needed it on that first half. It was so dominant. So Leviathan withstanding, but you see some factors there. MC actually calling a timeout late here. Surprising little thing. But okay, we'll take it. And I think I'd be happy with that eco round, actually.
As if I'm not, they had 2. They had a Phantom and a Vandal and a Bulldog too.
Spectre.
Oh, yeah. Spectre. None of that got picked up. So as you mentioned, it was just those 2 rifles carried over, which was the main goal. But you're right. I'd be happy with how that round turned out too, all things considered.
I think here Cloud9 looking to shift up the defensive side. And also maybe MC instilling a sense of let's just close this out as fast as possible. Rather than falling into a trap. A lot of times when you're in such a lead, it's like, okay, we got time here. We got plenty of time. But the best idea is to say, let's close this out as fast as possible. Do as much as you can. Because then that mental doesn't start to get into other patterns where things start to slow. Again, 4 rifles here. I said 1 player wasn't going to be able to buy. That's Nosler. He's got a stinger, but they all got light armor. So the staying power for Leviathan is very nice here. And actually, no player on Cloud9 is picking up a Phantom. So that is quite interesting. especially because the prep coming into this game, Leviathan was not a light armor team for the most part.
Blinded.
If I remember correctly, they were situationally going for light armor in situations where they needed some buffer economically.
Poison's off.
But for the most part, it wasn't accruing a bank with it. It wasn't going for it, especially not on rounds like this, the bonus. But they've got a lot here. They're not only still bonusing, but they've got firepower for days. Honestly, to match Cloud9. Other than that stinger, and there we go, Taco.
Is that his first?
That is his first duel win against Leaf. And it's a nice one, too.
Perhaps an indicator of things to come. You still find yourself down 4 rounds, but having the numbers advantage here certainly helps things.
Careful here.
30 seconds left.
Paranoia to clear out tree, and they're going to funnel in behind it. The Trailblazer clearing out backside as well, so they've done a really good job, at least it looked like, of using utility to clear the site, but you just haven't covered your flank.
And I think Shy needs to take that fight through that Viper wall there on Jake falling back.
Mazzino's all the way in backside A right now.
Oh my goodness, you're right.
They're going to funnel in right behind him. And Mazzino was entirely undetected.
And actually, with that context, I actually love what Shy did, because now he has the opportunity to flank them.
It's just going to be slow, though.
Such good movement from King there.
The round's going to be over before Shy even gets a chance to have an impact on it.
Toxin screen down.
Rooney's in a 1v3. He's got a Vandal and a Molly.
And they've fallen back into such good positions, too. Shy doesn't even need to go and show that he's willing to flank like that. Instead, falls back to just drop a Molly on the spike.
Rooney has way too many things he has to check. Chooses to wide swing into that to try to take the fight, but King gets the third on the round.
It's tough there, actually, if you're Taco trying to stick close to King, because King is playing such wide off angles consistently. But it's a great round from him. Look at this movement from him. You heard the little piece before this game started about how difficult it is for him to be hit. He's not sticking close to that box, mostly because that box is spammable, but also because it gives him a better off angle, and he's jiggling. Just pressing the strafe keys back and forth while he's even shooting.
Let's start this
I believe
party.
the words that Stellar used were Michael Jackson moonwalking his way. And I get it. I see the resemblance. I wouldn't want to try to shoot that guy either.
Here's a classic Cloud9 eco round. I said they didn't have many to go for in that first half, and here's the first kill from Rooney. Out times King. And he picks up a Vandal because of that too, just for free. He just abused. That's the sort of thing right there. That's King's Viper wall. Rooney just runs into it and uses it to actually destroy him and pick up a gun where he's not even able to be isolated from the rest of the team. Shy just confirmed that he did get that weapon.
Shadows traveling.
And now, Leviathan are in trouble because this is Cloud9. We say it every single week is winning more than a third of their eco rounds.
There.
This has the makings of another, especially when you consider that Leviathan want to go towards B, and that's where all of Zelsys' utility resides. Able to clear out some of it.
Yeah.
Molly's through. Taco satcheled his way across. Zelsys playing on the outside of the smoke, waiting for help.
30 seconds.
There's the help. The help falls.
3 through Waterfall, and they actually get denied because the good util from Leviathan there. And they're not relying on post plant here. They're playing up close, which gives them the opportunity to give up guns.
That's so big. Rooney finding the person intended to control the flank. You've got Jake close by with him. They're going to funnel out onto the site.
Player standing.
There's no way. Nosworth deals with that.
Oh, that's a Cloud9 classic. We've got to see at least 2 of those in map, especially when close, but
One enemy remaining.
Their eco round win rate is legendary at this point. Legendary. I haven't seen anything quite like it. And it's such a unique way to go for it too. They just have such 2 strong Sheriff players, and then the rest of them just support them with stingers. Ridiculous. For reference, again, that over a third round win rate with eco is so crazy because the round win rate between 2 even teams you'd expect to be 50%, right? 30% when you don't even have weapons.
Yeah, that's just silly.
And I'm starting now to have to come up with different ways to explain that because we've done it over and over every single series. 30%, double the average, yada, yada, yada. And Leviathan's a team who's familiar with that too. They're so good at eco rounds. And maybe that's why it's been so long for them coming to actually go for this light armor strat. But that's gonna give them a chance here that I didn't think was actually possible given that first half.
MC calling the second timeout of the map for them. Still up 4, and again, it was off of that thrifty round win. MC saw something he didn't like, so they choose to call a timeout, and much like the conversation was in the previous timeout, how do you close this thing out here? How do you get out of this? The thrifty round may have been the spark that they needed to get them past the finish line.
Yeah, but another classic fashion too, MC calling it right after they win too.
Here.
And that's an element of, let's let them think about what just happened because it shouldn't have. Let's let them think about the fact that we just got eco going on.
It's interesting here, they feint aggression. Belief was so far back right at the beginning, and Jake is stuck.
Second first kill for Taco. Important for this guy to continue to have that confidence. And it's something that's hilarious to mention because obviously he's tweeted about how he's not comfortable on stage and whatnot, but over and over, he just continues and continues and continues to take his shot. Whether he's playing Jet, whether he's playing Raze, he's the guy who's always doing what his team needs, which is double satchling, which is diving. Dashing forward into his smokes, whatever it might be, he's always doing it no matter the situation. And that's commendable. But it needs to end in results too. And this round, great from Taco.
Rooney's still playing towards C. He's got the pit too, so you imagine if there's just a little bit of contact, you can choose to drop it, play.
I'm scared
around it, stay alive.
The timing on this fuel, he has to wait for so long because it was just using both wall and orb.
Seekers, Molly. They can't get through that.
I mean, this is kind of okay because it's giving them the chance to get the fuel. And they're going to pivot, actually. Mazzino with the... Was that Molly just being popped preemptively?
Look at how far Taco is. He's going to clear out all of the Seekers. Mentelsis is going to clothesline from the side.
Can they get the plan? I don't think so. No flash, though.
Shinos were going to try to do it on their own. Time is short. Health was short. Resources were low.
What just happened on that Molly? I thought that was such a nice position for Mazzino to TP. And also, kind of ingenious, too, because the breakable door wasn't broken yet. And also, Mazzino has been going for constantly very obvious TPs in the past. Josh pointed one out on Haven, but here on this map, he's constantly going back C. So to see it not paired with that execute and then to come in after the execute makes me wonder, it just got killed because of a Molly placed inside of that link. I'm shocked that that worked out for Cloud9 there. Well, it felt like pure happenstance, but no.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen it again, but not going to be the case.
There we go.
That's the third.
Get him in there.
There. Poison's off.
Last round, they actually lost after one of those early entries from Taco. Ooh, King's in trouble.
He almost gets two there.
Cloud9 are doing a really good job actually nullifying King. You remember back to that eco, just walking way in front of his wall. But they do lose one. And this situation becomes difficult for the defense. And already Rooney's being proactive about it. Zeppa, Leaf being proactive about it, running all the way back to stack C. And Rooney with a great off angle down in B main, but Leviathan looked to be making the right choice here. Grouping up his fort. And they have so much info util as well to feel out this stack. It just has to start happening a little sooner. Not necessarily in this round, but in rounds in the future because they're running out of time often. Re-exploration for Cloud9 might cue them into they made the wrong choice a little earlier than we might have expected.
30 seconds left.
Zeppa's full utility for the retake attempt, so we'll see how things pan out.
All coming in the back here. Turret's gonna spot them.
Nosler does get the spike down, and the lockdown's invested instantly. Leviathan pushing their way forward because they want to take the fight into Rubble, into Mound. It's a 1-for-1.
One enemy remaining. Last
How's Messino left in this?
TP out.
Rooney dancing in and out of it. Now having to go forward.
Oh my goodness.
Tucking in his smoke just on the lip of it, and with 40 HP, not able to land the shots. Rooney with another massive play for Cloud9.
And that one is, unfortunately, the dagger. Because it's 6 rounds for Leviathan to come back into now, and I like the Mazzino couldn't take the risk to run through that smoke or walk through that smoke because of what Rooney did, right?
Right,
Just
exactly.
randomly spray. He was so low HP. So he played on the edge of it and wants to use the timing to fight him. And as soon as those shots fire out, Mazzino thinks he might be dead, so he has to swing. But if he's just a little bit more patient, Rooney might think that he went into the A site. He's actually running out of time in that situation. I think the biggest mistake, though, not recognizing in time that their flank was coming and it was going to be coming by so many people. Because they put the lockdown in plain view of everyone. And because of that, they have to overcommit to fight.
Cloud9 have sent 3 down A main already, and the Trailblazers hot to trot. They're following behind it. That's going to put a lot of pace into Leviathan's hit.
First kill again.
Down.
Fast flank again. How do they deal with it? Is there going to be a flash to fight Mound?
There's still 2 there. LEV trying to push forward. That flash blind.
So many flashes.
The wall. Oh, blind!
Player standing.
Pure chaos. And there's still life here, despite match point for Cloud9. There's still life. Everything, honestly, in these early rounds is working really well for Leviathan. Taco's gotten 3 first kills in a row. They're finding the right side of the map, honestly. In that last round, they went to the A side after having a 4v3. Which, again, constantly favors the attackers. But just multiple instances now where it just slips away. And finally, one converts.
Zelsta stays alive, will carry the lockdown into the next round. Leviathan still with a lot of work to do. You take it a round at a time, you may see an opportunity for this. This fight was so scrappy.
1 enemy remaining.
Honestly, if that wall from Leaf, that fast lane actually connects, if he throws that a little higher in the instance, obviously it was blinded up, so it's tough. The rest of Leviathan's not able to swing on B main there, or C main, excuse me. They're not able to swing and help out of Mound without wide swinging into the unknown. And they're forced an eco here from Cloud9. Obviously 1 weapon saved in that last. And also it looks like a hero rifle bought up too.
They have 5 ults. They just got Zeppas online. So they have an abundance of tools to try to close this one out. What they may lack in guns, they have an extra firepower.
Look at this round too. Zeppa just flashed into A main. Didn't see anything, and Leaf ran all the way back over to C. Interesting smoke from Jake too. As soon as that revolving door gets tapped, he's worried about the pivot. And this might be finally Leviathan actually using Cloud9's strengths against them.
They're just all starting to rotate back so quickly.
What is this? They've got something I mean, magic.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it, it works. That's now 3 rifles that they have too. Jake just picked one up off the kill with the Sheriff. The pick goes down C. All attention towards A. And Leaf is here. He's close on sight, and he has that ult. I wonder if that's a cue for them to go. Leaf just jumps out with a stinger.
There's going to be maybe 2 detained here. No, 0.
They're going to push into the pit.
Right on the edge.
Try to fight it, and it works out. Taco and King getting 2 big kills, though. Numbers still in favor of Cloud9, but now King alone.
Spike didn't even get planted.
And with 13 seconds left, he's got to make a decision. He's got to do so quickly.
10 seconds left.
It's just out of reach. Zelsta's waiting on the other side of the wall, and soon as it goes down, he's caught jumping.
He can grab it.
4 seconds.
Oh,
he's got time.
He's in the open.
Rooney, he pulled off.
Defenders win.
A brutal spot to be in, a tough decision to make, and one that goes the way of Cloud9.
Oh my goodness. So many little tight situations, split-second decisions out of Mazzino, out of King. And we could have been looking still at playing this game. We could have been looking at a situation where Cloud9 never got to match point. We could have been looking at a crazy comeback from Leviathan. Instead, we get to look back on this game and continue to think about Cloud9's insane dominance on this map with this Neon comp. Undefeated, and they look to go much more than that. These guys are crazy.
LEV played exceptionally well. Rooney had so many key moments. He and LEV combined dropped for, I believe, 45 kills. Between just the two of them, they played so well. At one point, Rooney was 20 and 9. Found plenty of value with the Sheriffs. Drake did too. It was an excellent display from Cloud9. We'll see if they can replicate it on Haven. We'll be right back.
What is this from EA? He is currently unstoppable. He is just a consistent demon. El Diablo.
Hey guys, it's EA. Welcome to my course on optimal Valorant training. I'm going to be demonstrating now some angle clearing. I'll slowly come around the corner as well, making sure no one's on these off angles.
Cause I'm having a good time, having a good time. I'm a racing car, passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go, 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 there's no stopping me. Stop me now, I'm having such a good time. I'm having a
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.
Came through with it again. They know that I got spirit with a pen. Don't know why they try to compete when they know that in victory it's never gonna end. Them man are weak, that's why they could never speak. They ain't like me, I take it to the peak. Different type of steeds that I breed. Wheel up on the mic, they won't get one of these. Please, I don't wanna hear no talk from them. I don't wanna see nothing at all from them. They can't do it like me. So all I wanna see really is a round of applause from them. Vibes in the air, we caused it again. Life isn't fair, but we rode it again. All of my teams being ready for the war, there's no warning for them. Tell them again, I ain't here to make up no friends. I just came through yet again. We look, you never got one of them. Top of the pound yet again. They can't stop this child not again. Reigning champ, I won't lose it. So you know I'm gonna win that again. Tell them again. Tell them again. Tell them again. Tell them again. I ain't here to make up no friends. I just came through yet again. We look, you never got one of them. Top of the pile yet again. They can't stop this child not again. Reigning champ, I won't lose it. So you know I'm gonna win that again. Tell them 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 again. I ain't here to make up no friends. I just came through yet again. We look, you never got one of them. Top of the pile yet again. They can't stop this child not again. Reigning champ, I won't lose it. So you know I'm gonna win that again.
Cloud9 continuing to illustrate why they are a team to fear in the Americas region, but I gotta say, no bananas, no banana consumption. I don't know how I feel about map 2 here, Sideshow.
I don't think they need it.
You don't think they need the bananas?
They don't need a single thing. I would say whatever you came into with that match, whatever you ate, whatever you hydrated with, keep it the same, do exactly that. The rest of the year, they'll win every game.
Man, I feel bad for that one guy who just had to down a whole coffee before the game started.
You've got to do that every time now.
You just go for it. Well, guys, one thing that was very clear in this one, though, is that LEV is very good at this video game. Like, really good at this video game. Benita, to go to you for this one here, I think that it's safe to say that LEV, he just is that guy. He's a high-impact player that every team should want to have in their squad.
Yeah, he's getting in there. He's getting the fights he wants. He has really cool stun lineups. He has been hitting some incredible shots, ones we had to replay. That was just like one of the fastest shots I've ever seen.
This round as well, though, to start with, man, Leviathan are trying to do some aggression. And in this round, too.
Yeah.
They're trying to take control of the tempo, and Leaf has just ripped it away from them. Here's that stun lineup that we caught on the replay, but they were actually, Leaf was running that quite a lot in the previous rounds, too. Yeah. And Mizzino, it looked like either wasn't aware or was trying to take a timing around it and got punished by it.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's ridiculous.
You can't really... You never really think, oh, the neon is lining up a stun, you know? It's not one that you think of.
Yeah, but I think it's probably also, it helps that he has so much versatility, right? So that he's always going to be thinking that way. You know, it's like when you watch Victor play, it's a very similar thing. He's got a lot of versatility, a lot of flexibility. It really plays out for him.
He also just watches a lot of the VODs, right? He really is a student of the game, and that's something that the Cloud9 team have been talking about a lot, is that he goes and finds this stuff on his own and talks to the team about how they should play certain comps and how he would like to be set up and how their rotate should work. Like, he's really involved in the planning phase, too.
Yeah, it's fantastic to watch, and Cloud9 have been incredible. But also, another thing that, and Benita, you had pointed this out as well, the trades. Cloud9, whenever they're in a fight, if they lose a player, someone's instantly there to answer back.
Yeah, the trades are unbelievable. They come out at such a perfect, timing, the positioning. C9 is always so grouped, and their bodies are placed perfectly for the trades. And it really shows in this post plant right here.
Yeah, in this round, I think it's Mizzino and Nozwa that end up getting traded out in spots where they just can't do anything. Like, Cloud9 is swinging on them. And what I can't still wrap my head around is what King was talking about in the clip that we played earlier. How have they done this quickly with a team that has a couple of players without that experience?
Yeah.
And maybe that experience will end up, lack of experience, I should say. Maybe that'll hurt them when it comes to playoffs or Tokyo if they make it. And that's what you're talking about in terms of it being a honeymoon. But at the moment, there is just no signs of that inexperience whatsoever.
Yeah, no, it's great. It seems like when you have younger players, they soak it in. They're kind of like a sponge, and they soak in what the surroundings are telling you, and your coaching staff and your duelists, and they have this little family that's working very properly.
Yeah, they realize the situation that they find themselves in, and they're just going for it. And I love it, and it's working, and it's clicking. But of course, so before we get into map 2, let's do, as we always, little aim lab shoot around, shall we? We're checking in on Takalea, playing the Rays in the last game. Didn't quite have Josh the game that we would have wanted to see from Takalea on Rays, but it was always going to be a tall task to begin with, given what he was up against.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea in theory of messing with the composition to throw Cloud9 off. Benita, you talked about the nade being really useful too, but frankly, he just couldn't find the value. The showstoppers weren't there as well. Cloud9 were faster than him and made him look almost stuck in the mud at times.
Yeah, I feel like the comp change came from the idea of using the nade to stop the neon, and it seemed like they just weren't able to do that, to get A main control as well, or to help stop the C push.
Yeah.
They did save it for post-plant in one of those rounds. That was quite interesting. I'm really curious to see what happens when we get to map 3, if we get, in fact, to map 3 of Bind, because they could play Taco as solo Rays there, or they could play the double duelist and put him back on Jet. But I would be gobsmacked if we don't see the Jet head-to-head here on Haven.
Yeah, and also, after that one, I did say before the match started, I was like, oh, I could see it being a 2-1, you know, trying to do the diplomatic response because I really like Leviathan as a team and think they have what it takes to win this. But after that 13-7 trouncing there, it's really hard for me to be like, yeah, no, this can very well go to a map 3, right?
Yeah, just seeing some of the shots that Leaf is hitting and the way he's playing, it's like his game. It's going at his pace. So that's something that's really difficult to stop and like to stop the momentum.
And even Josh was mentioning it in that last game, right? Like Leviathan were actually trying to be the pace setters. They were trying to up the tempo, and Leaf stops you in your tracks. And now Leaf, I believe, is going to be on the jet here. Going, it says he'll be facing off against Takulia. So interested to see maybe some of those clashes potentially in the op battles.
Yeah, but listen, the way that it's been going, Taku is going to have his hands full even going even in that matchup because Leaf has just looked like an absolute god. He's incredible. Every round he touches, he's having impact, whether it's in the first kill department or whether it's the way that he rotates, the angles that he's taking. And what I want to see, more so than just Leviathan winning to keep their playoff dreams alive, what I want to see from Leviathan is that they are playing differently, that they've swapped something up, that they have variety, that they have different ult plays, that they're approaching this without being as formulaic.
It took you 30 minutes to find a clip and find tendencies in Haven. Leviathan need to change things up. They need to be able to throw a wrench into the system if they want to force a map 3. But let's go ahead and send it back to your casters. It's Daddy Doug and Papa Balla.
I could hear the laughing from the production crew, too, as he said that. Thank you, Golden Boy. I appreciate that. Ball, we turn our attention over to Haven, where Cloud9 have stumbled 2 times this year. They lost it at Lock-In, and yeah, it was a different roster, but they also lost it this year against NRG.
Yeah, so, yeah, they can bleed on this map, but at the same time, too, Leviathan has been bleeding on this map as well. They lost it against 100 Thieves, and I think thinking a lot about that telestrator that Josh said about was so much of the tendencies are very, very readable. Cloud9, we just saw them abuse some of the really, really nice things that Leviathan have used against other teams just because they see weaknesses where others don't. So how are they going to rip apart Leviathan, or will they even achieve that? One thing I've been looking at, though, is Cloud9 have only lost 1 map in the last 5 series that they've played.
That's an outrageous rate. An outrageous percentage, and once again, the pace for Cloud9 continues. They're fast with it, they're pacey, but Leviathan have a couple of strong members here that have been able to keep them back a bit.
Taco doing a little bit of intended baiting there on Shy to catch the last 2, but ends up falling anyways. And look at the position of Zappa. Will he win the fight? No, Mazzino. It's been so good in those instances, and now Zelsis has to pivot again. Not quite sure whether or not he can actually make it in time towards C to get that plan. Instead, it's going to go right up the middle in between both Leviathan players. Does not know exactly King's position.
The timing may work out for him. He has a fault line.
Oh, if he taps, this is going to be tough.
Clearing every corner, spotting 1. Waiting for the challenge on the second that will not come.
Where did that flash just go? I mean, just completely whiffed.
He's got the fault line. He's going to take the fight, and they're both weak! They were both weak, and it's a clutch for Zelsis!
Oh, no. To start off the game after what just happened on that first one. That is such a good play for Zelsis. I mean, he funneled them in perfectly. Look at him go. Found the timing, spotted that King cross, knew that Mazzino was on that side already, makes the dash over towards A, and baits them in perfectly.
Oh, what an opener for him.
Cover going out.
What an opener. Leviathan with just pistols here.
Alarm bot down.
2 rifles for Cloud9, 1 in the hands of Rooney and 1 in the hands of Zelsis. And he earned it after that last play. Cloud9 going to head towards C, where they're going to see that there is no one around. Leaf dashing into a smoke.
Full stack over towards A. Now wondering how best to set up not only the ults
Spike planted
for the future rounds, but also this post plant. And I think the most important thing, the most important adjustment, not only this drone coming into garage, but pushing Zeppa up deep so he can get wild early information. about when and where the flank is coming from. Because you know it's going to be some sort of flank at some point. What was the point of that? Just purposefully set off the turret. To make it, I think to make it seem like there's going to be a flank through garage instead. Walking into B. I don't know if it's going to have the intended effect. Looks like they want to actually funnel in to just die to Spike, but they're going to be met with at least Leaf. This is looking like it might be a really good attempt from Leviathan to save, or actually get killed by the Spike, but instead they're all going to fall. And now Seppa is getting up to his ult.
Every single one of them.
The important thing that Leviathan wanted to, you could tell how they were playing, not only to find maybe an exit if there was somebody like Leaf walking up there, but they all wanted to die to the Spike without giving up. Especially more kills to Zelsis, given how close he is to his orbs. But not to anybody, honestly. And I think that was worse, almost worst case scenario. Zeppa getting 3 kills there.
You better run, Sova.
Looks like another fast C hit, Doug. Same turret, same fault line, same flash about to come out.
Mazzino's here this time. Perched up top, Leaf unaware. Still stays alive now with the cover of the flash. She swings out.
He's gonna go for, swing through the one-way.
Here.
And Shy doesn't necessarily know that that's there. He does hear it, and they're funneling even further now. This is going to be not only a bonus conversion from Cloud9, but I mean an insanely good setup for them into the future of this match. Guys, they're gonna have breach ult once the next round comes up, especially if they get any guns down here. If they get any guns down here, they force Leviathan to save at some point. The ults are gonna be crazy in that round 5. Jake is getting close here.
You see Cloud9 on the prowl.
They have plenty of time to walk through A here too. Depending on how much info he sees, he might go for so much, but it's only Taco spotted.
See Zelsis with the fault line ready. I don't think anyone's going to be there challenging time. Oh, hang on. Short's got a lot. King falls.
Spotted one more.
Traded back. Yeah, it looks like they're going to be able to preserve some of it.
Only one weapon. Leaf has his ult now.
Yeah.
Rooney, 2 off. And they did force almost a full save. But Nasr with his weapon remaining, actually, I think everybody would have had enough to buy like they are right now. Mazzino with the judge, though. No util missing for Leviathan, somehow, some way.
Heavy lean towards A, where you have the fault line set up, push Nasr off the angle. And they take the space, but it's a little quick out of Leviathan. They're starting to funnel in towards mid. Into window. And I don't know that Rooney hears that. The turret's gonna help.
Turret might not be fast enough to give him the info.
He's into the sideline too. Yeah, you were right. It was not fast enough. Good flash out from Zelsis. Be careful not to overcook.
Leaf is scaling. I mean, he's just too good.
Of course he is. 2, Zelsis steals the 3rd.
One enemy remaining.
It's so dynamic from these guys. Leaf with the last one too. That smoke to swing out to the left there, fading right as his teammate is also starting to scale up on that right wall.
Then let's run.
It's perfect jet play in my mind. There's an aftershock to clear that corner to funnel them into Leaf's peak too.
Looks like
It's perfect. It's perfect. Dealing with that situation again after losing Jake. Don't forget that turret didn't spot him early enough, and they recover. Force the eco out of Leviathan.
Time for a field test.
It's a scary sight when Leaf is mid-map and he's just chuckling in between rounds. You can tell he's having a good time.
Isn't that every game at this point?
That's true.
Taco with the Fnatic play, dashing down, but again, it's just so well handled.
Oh, the ult used from Nasr to trade that back a bit.
He just used the ult, but the Killjoy ult is going to be up in the next gun round. So that's a big investment there. They're looking to win this eco right now.
Turrets destroyed.
And they had the blades.
They don't know Zeppa's here. Yeah.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Well responded by Shy. He's got a little something to work with here. This is Spike 6 away. Cloud9 digging their heels in, holding on to the site. They have not played back off. see Zelsis now try to check the flank and make sure that there's no one creeping up behind him, but they're going to get the kills all they need on the site.
One enemy remaining.
It's just so clean from Leaf, man.
Here. Turret down.
Craziest part here for Cloud9 to me is a team that constantly is shutting down insane star power outside of maybe like Loud, and that was early in the season.
Right.
Nobody's really been able to have that same sort of impact against this team. And Leaf does this sort of performance constantly against every team in the league. He's never getting shut down. Conversation shifted throughout the season about, you know, he was a great player at the beginning, but we weren't really thinking about Cloud9 being on the radar, so it wasn't in that top 5, even in the Americas League probably. Shifted into definitely being a top 2 player in the Americas League, shifting into him being a top 3, potentially globally, maybe the best. He's so good.
Another. This time well traded by Taco, though. He's got the Hunter Shuri, he's got a flash, he's got a paranoia. How he's still alive just kind of blows my mind.
Oh my.
He gets another from backside. Finally tries to vacate the site.
Great movement, but Zeppa's here. He's gonna get 2.
Got one.
Hey, even with Taco finding so much value,
One enemy remaining.
they're on the verge of losing the 6th round in a row.
This is what I was talking about. This snowball is insanely good, given the situation that they were getting on those anti-ecos. And in that pistol, too. It's devastating. Leviathan is in economic situation where they're going to be buying every single round from here on out.
Yeah.
But they've got to put an end to this onslaught from Cloud9. They're freely getting the C site whenever they want. And then the pivots when the situation gets murky are so good in this specific round, slowing down when they're looking for a pick with that ult. The TP out from Jake, I mean, that was ridiculous. He should not have gotten that kill, of course.
Nope.
But then even after all that happens, Taco gets the 1. They chase him down by pushing up in the window, recognizing his teammates are going to come to flood and assist him to try to get off that site. I'm honestly surprised this timeout is coming in at this point from Leviathan, from Owner. I would have expected him to be furious with the way that this first couple of rounds went.
There you go. We got a little something going on. It was short-lived. Sorry.
They were loud at the beginning.
Yeah, they were.
And sadly, this scoreline right now for Leviathan is speaking to their hopes as well. They need something to get back into this. It might be the crowd. For the first time, too, it feels like we actually have some LATAM favor in the audience with us.
They just haven't had very many reasons to cheer recently. The timeline really tells it all. 6 rounds in a row, and it goes all the way back to that clutch from Zelsis on the pistol. The 1v2, reading Leviathan like a book. Starting the momentum, starting the snowball.
Yeah, that was a close round. That's why it's so shocking that it's gone this way. The pistol can speak a little bit about how some of these gun rounds are going to go, how the form is going to be for these teams on the maps, but they were an advantage on that pistol. They should have won the pistol.
1000% should have won it. Yep. Fault line going to help a little bit to try to dissuade Leaf from being pacey.
I think they recognize that the player's top A here, yeah. They're looking to trap Taco, but also looking to extricate Leaf.
Zappa's pushed his way forward. Mazzino's able to clean him up. For what feels like the first time this entire map, if I'm not mistaken, there's an opening. There's a numbers advantage, and they've capitalized on it. Jake falls 2. Now 3 kills going in favor of the defensive side. Rooney and Zelsis, the only 2 that remain. The spike not planted. And resources divided. You see Zelsis starting to rotate out. Leviathan in a very disciplined manner, very patiently waiting to see where the attempt is going to come from Cloud9.
After that, timeout. We get to see a potential flawless here from Leviathan. That is definitely bringing the hopes back up. Reminder, this team is still not clinched playoffs. There is a very real chance that they miss out, given their opponents right now down against Cloud9 later on. Next week against Loud to close things.
Flawless.
Of all opponents, it feels impossible.
They then finally cauterize the bleeding and get around on the board. Still find themselves down 5 though. Still have a lot of money from Cloud9 you're gonna have to deal with. You still have another Rolling Thunder that's about to hit from Celsius.
Leaf hasn't even popped those knives yet, but yeah, I mean that snowball that I was referencing has certainly come to an end now that Leviathan has responded with a few ults of their own. They're about to get their Killjoy lockdown back up. They've resisted in the right time. I mean, the perfect way, because otherwise that snowball could have started up again. Now it's just Celsius' ult.
That opening was actually so bold from Leaf. There was not a fault line paired with that from Celsius. There wasn't a flash or anything like that. He just tried to catch a timing, and he almost did.
Almost did again. And this is unfortunate because Leaf has actually only gone for Stinger here because he was hoping to get so much value out of the knives. And you can see why. I mean, he was looking for not only the picks on C, but then instantly going back to look for a pick on A.
Celsius clearing out the turret in garage.
Look at this guy, still looking for one with the knives.
That's now the second bit of Killjoy utility that Celsius has cleared out.
With no resistance from Leviathan. Remember on Lotus, it was very heavily putting bodies in front of the util to be broken.
This is so, I mean, this is surgical at this point. It's death by 1,000 cuts, right? Either it's aggressive and in your face from Leaf, or it's very slow, it's very methodical, but it's very calculated from Celsius, from Cloud9. They do everything perfectly.
And I love this from Rooney too. Use this drone, use this dart to add to the hit, and then falls into a lurking position with the turret.
Taco's in a position to perhaps catch a couple unexpectedly.
Oh, 2 big ones.
Yeah, King gets another. Shy waiting in the smoke. Leaf just on the other side. You start to see some of the util come through, and Shy tries to swing, and Leaf cleans him up. Straight back and forth. It's gotten into a 1v1. Leaf has struggled. Oh, but it's Zeppu plucks Taco out of the sky.
That is such a crazy attempt from Taco. And unfortunately, Zeppa's clutch there wakes up the audience in favor of Cloud9 with a little bit of prodding from the LATAM side of it. And it looks like not only the players want to make a statement, but Cloud9's fans too.
Taco with the up, close by. Tagged instantly. The dart, he was done.
The pace from Cloud9 has slowed down significantly since those couple of C hits, but specifically as well, since that timeout out of owner, they've shifted so hard. And it honestly feels like without playing Neon here, they're still working the map in the same way that they did on Lotus. Shifting between the A side, the C side, looking for kills everywhere based off of little timings that are taken by some utility breaking or some drone being used, some call being made in the comms of Leviathan. They're forcing. Looking for the picks in those moments.
He's just so aggressive.
He actually doubted himself that he cleared a couple of those angles. Almost netted himself a death. Leviathan are saving. And they have to because of the reset, and especially given the fact that that AWP was down from Taco instantly. Looks like we're back to that round 4.
Uh-huh.
We've seen this situation before, this time much more entrenched positions on the A side.
It's also, interesting to see LEV moving the operator out of what would potentially be the reach of Cloud9.
Right here.
While still having rifles to work with in case they get pressured, which is what Cloud9 has been doing. So they have the tools to fend this off. It's the first one going in favor of King. Jake swinging around.
They're not going to get that up.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to keep it. Nope.
Yeah.
That's the op.
I actually think that's a mistake, Doug, to cycle that op up there and then go down and fight short. That op is so good in situations to hold the long-range angles while you're saving that you should be using that instead. For example, he could have walked down, used that op on short, and held that angle A long for so long and even played a crossfire. They weren't thinking of the setup there. I think King just uncomfortable with the weapon. And now they have 3 hero rifles. Taco has knives, so this is a pretty decent buy, but they are missing some util here.
It's going to be fast towards A from Taco with blades, but no one from Cloud9 is close by.
Here's that hit. We've seen it before. Mazzino's just gotten dominated in this position multiple times. Thankfully, he does not get picked by that ult.
He got bullied quick, though.
Leaf is already running back into a different position than they've used previously, specifically because of this, but I think there's a nano and the aftershock. So try to break it, but it didn't go. And Jake didn't get the cancel off, but there's a pocket back sight.
Here.
4 HP, he tried taking Shy down and wasn't able to do so. Rooney using the drone, scaling his way back up towards site with utility. Meanwhile, you've got Zeppa, who's going to be hitting in on a late flank. The timing on this is going to be real pretty again. You can see it has all the makings of it. As soon as attention's turned towards Long, he tries to strike, but Leviathan hold him back quite well. No clutch from Zelsis this time.
And there, the flank from, I think it was Zeppa and Garage, just found no value. Instantly taken down from the Leviathan side. They knew exactly what was going on there. And for the first time, Leviathan actually attempt the retake and also get it. In a situation where Mazzino just forces himself off the side instantly. Finally, it looks like Cloud9 fell into the protocols that Leviathan expect, that Leviathan are good at. And not only because of the knives that happened last round, not only did Leviathan just win a round, but they've got the op up now from Taco, despite losing 2 members on that hit.
Here.
Did he spot both? I mean, the shot splits the uprights right in between them both.
Shock.
That aftershock forcing Taco out of the way. They know where the op is now. They've identified Taco. You know he's updrafted. You know he's dashed.
Cloud9 gave the opportunity there for Taco to go for more, but then when he thought he had that chance, they sprung the aftershock, made it impossible for him to stay. This util is good from the Leviathan side, but they're not actually denying the plant yet. Here's the breach ult, and they're going to use it to funnel into the C-League.
While there was a paranoia coming in from that side, and that keeps them on the site, and that might be exactly what Cloud9 wanted. Zeppa trying to control the spray and land one, 3v3 left.
They just flipped it all the way over to the C side.
Yep.
So you're right. I mean, they were completely ready for that breach ult to come in and had a plan to react to it. Rooney on the lurk again.
King is so weak.
Die.
I feel like I've seen this round before.
Yeah.
Just we got there in a different situation, but the position's the same. Rooney on the lurk, holding down the push from B. And now Cloud9 has gotten into, I mean, a crossfire on their spawn. Disgusting.
Looks like it's going to be another attempt from Leviathan to save some prized possessions and weapons.
It's round 11 again.
Revealing area.
Last round coming up. They definitely have to get the op saved, but everything else, at least Noswer can buy as well. For Mazzino, who's going to need it.
Last round before the switch.
Potential to have the exact same score that we had on that first map. Leviathan made a run at it in the second half, but this almost feels out of reach at this point. Maybe the second half is the difference maker, but for Leviathan, you want to keep it as competitive as you can, get to 9-3, and then maybe have a shot at it through the pistol.
I mean, especially given the that very real chance it could come down to tiebreakers for Leviathan. The maps are the most important, but we said it. We looked at the top of the day about the tie breaks. Round differentials in there at some point.
Shy's tucked in this corner, and I don't think they know. Oh, are they spamming him right now?
They're trying for it, just tapping. Oh,
still not cleared.
Good ult to actually protect Shy there.
Oh, no.
But he just gave up his position. He's staying there right now. Leaf has the opportunity to strike, and with that reload, he will.
I think he was terrified that he may have been spotted by that drone, forced out, and then you're right, shoots, gives everything away, and falls for it.
It feels like an eternity since this round started. That battle in Garage lasting so long, but still a minute left, and they will eventually force their way in here. Lockdown as well to allow them to rotate off of the site. This turret right now getting broken from Nosworth allows them to set up a trap play on Garage.
Got the fault line set up from Zelsis too to allow.
They're not even holding the spike right now.
They just, I mean, they're looking to make a statement. And holy smokes are they.
They just ran through Zeppa's own molly against Taco. There's no way you expect that. And the thing is, there's so much space now for Nosworth to clear, given what Cloud9 did in the early. Leaf is staying in such an easy position to close out the round.
Caution here.
And the double swing. Even worse than Lotus now for this first half.
Switching sides.
You know, there was so much conversation that we had around what Leviathan would look like after their last win last week. They looked so comfortable, they looked so loose, they looked like they were back to the form that people expected out of them coming into the season, but this entire series is throwing it right back into their faces. Let's throw it back to Golden Boy down at the desk to break down that half.
Couldn't agree more about what you just said there, Doug. It felt like last week it was all smiles and good things for Leviathan, but right now the conversation is all Cloud9. They are dominating Leviathan, and I can't believe that those are words that I'm uttering right now, week 7 into the Americas League.
I think Cloud9 are playing the second best Valorant in the world currently, behind Fnatic. I think they're that good.
That's a bold statement.
It's been ridiculous what they're showcasing. And Leaf is one of the primary reasons why. His read on the game is superb. Obviously, his mechanics are also fantastic, but the way he reads what's happening sets him up for kills that you just would not expect.
Yeah, it's Leaf's world, and we're just
living in it. I couldn't agree more, man. It genuinely feels like Leaf is going out there and doing whatever the man wants, and he's getting away with, and his teammates are supporting him as well.
Yeah.
That's the other part of it. It's one thing to go out there and be a top fragger like we've seen so many players in VCT, but to do it the way that Leaf is doing with the support he has, it's incredible.
Yeah, I want you to take a look at this round, right? Mazzino goes for the jump peek. Leaf instantly punishes it. Ridiculous. Zeppa's already up in Garage before Leviathan even realized they want to go for it. And Jake decides that he can go for this cheeky punish and get rid of Takolia. They know what Leviathan are going to do before Leviathan even know it. And to be honest, I don't think that's based on VOD review prep for all of the stuff that I was talking about on the desk earlier. It's just that Cloud9 read their opponents like nobody else.
Yeah,
they know the game.
Definitely one step ahead every round so far.
And that has been the problem for Leviathan. They need to, well, work themselves out of this rut, but at a 10-2 scoreline.
They need to beat Loud. Give up on this one. Go and beat Loud next week.
Hey, you know what, guys? If it keeps going like this, we'll see you in not too long. So we'll send it back to the casters for now.
Yeah, Golden Boy, you're right. There's a potential for a very quick close to this series. Again, Cloud9 up 10-2 at halftime, and Leviathan with a whole lot of things they have to solve in a very short amount of time, Balla.
Yeah, it's funny that Josh says that about the next game, because at the beginning of Lotus, I was saying the same thing. Just go next. Let's go to Haven. Let's see what we can do on there. Because it definitely felt like Cloud9 was just dominating.
You can only go next so far, though. Maybe they hold here. Zelsis right back to the scene of the crime. Remember, opening pistol. This is where he hit that 1v2. He's got a classic this time.
There's 4 players, actually all 5 players from Leviathan in a link, and they're set up to play a post plant from this position. It's planted for them here. But can they hold this? Cloud9 are literally ready for it because of the audio cues that they've gotten.
Rooney with a rare miss with the Sheriff. Zelsis is still alive. That paranoia is going to hurt. They're going to swing out from that. They've set up everything to try to pounce and get the kills they were looking for. Not able to convert any of it, though. Zeppa's going to get the defuse. He got it halfway. Celsius is going to have to clutch this out again. The benefit is there's an opportunity, but there was a very small one.
And they just destroyed them there. And I think they're Cloud9 understanding what was going on. I mean, we've been talking about how clear they know what is happening on the other side, what Leviathan is doing before they know what they're doing. And it felt like that again. But this time they make the wrong decision and give them too much rope inside of A-Link. They wanted to hang them, but instead a fuse was blown and Leviathan just completely demolished them. I love how Taco was able to pounce there as well onto the defuse. Well, Zappa's just going for it.
Had 3 kills in that very quick succession.
But I mean, Leviathan, despite winning the pistol here, it's so funny because you think you've won a great battle. You think you won something that'll change the outcome significantly, but right now they have their second real fight of the second half. Because these pistols they're just so good. It's never a done deal.
Oh, especially when Rooney has a sheriff.
Jake bought a ghost too, actually. That's actually been more and more common in the meta. Few players are doing that on these ecos. I think it's very good when it's actually light armor. It just takes one dink and a shot.
Cloud9 are playing this so respectfully. They're not taking any space. They're not trying to do anything cheesy. Got a decent setup with the nanos on B. And Leaf there waiting to clear.
30 seconds left.
But the hits, hey?
I thought for a second there Leviathan was going to show something else and go for a dry walk, which would have gotten them the site without giving the cues for Cloud9 to rotate early. And now they've given him a chance to flood, but Taco instantly takes him out, and looks like they're handling this quite well.
Yeah. I would have to agree with you. You can see Leaf tried to dash his way out onto the side and catch a timing to perhaps see them unexpected, unaware. Yeah, but they handle it beautifully. Rudy still got his 2 with the sheriff.
Oh my goodness, guy.
Your vital signs are...
They look like us, but are they us? I have so many questions.
This guy is something else, man. With that sheriff, it's the movement. In most of these cases that I'm seeing in this game, the movement is so nice. Trading a little bit of damage, but easily getting himself, while the other player is settling in on going for a spray or going for the shot on him. Settles easily on his head. It's distinctive. Very few players are really putting work on their sheriff.
It's very evident that he puts time into his. Leviathan have brought the gap down to 6. And with the weapons that they have, look to convert for more. Leaf is going to get spot. Oh no, he's not going to get spotted. And now he can swing off of that. What a setup!
And the thing there, Leaf, there's a paranoia on that guy, but he's able to recognize instantly that, yeah, he's nearsighted, not actually flashed for me, so he just dashes away. And his real instinct is to fight with the Celsius flash instead.
Jay caught with utility out. Swings out and still lands the shots onto Shy.
How often is this guy actually getting caught out and still winning the fight? There, obviously, Shy goes to break the turret when he sneaks through that. Not the turret, the alarm bot, excuse me. Or maybe whoever it was, I think maybe Zeppa holding.
Something caught his attention.
Yeah, so Jake gets the ability to get back into that. He was looking to smoke A, I believe, in that instance.
30 seconds left.
20 seconds. I think everybody knows what's about to happen. Don't have to speak it. Cloud9's hunting for it. The 20-second crunch.
King's gonna be the first to feel some of that pressure.
10
Catching
seconds
Jake
left.
as he tries jumping into the window.
Cloud9 doesn't have money here.
Nope. And they've just lost 2 guns.
Yeah, you see them backing up. They're like, let's chill, let's chill. Because they could have gotten in a situation there where they lost. I mean, they won the round, but they lost everybody. and being forced to save. Honestly, it might still be really scrappy of a buy for them, because I don't think any of those players could drop. So yeah, we've got a Stinger and a Bulldog out from the 2 players who died.
Yeah, a little spotty for sure.
I say that, but we act like Zeppa's Stinger isn't the best in the world.
Meanwhile, Leviathan with full rifles, full armor on Mizzino, but light armor the rest of the way. And it looks like they're going to push down too long. Cloud9 are. You've got to set up for a fault line, a flash, a dash. Off of the contact, there it is. He's nearsighted, he's stunned, and he does not get away.
It's too perfect. Here's Zeppa. Responded by Taco, and he goes into spawn. Cloud9's still pushing long.
This is really nice from them, but the spike is backside. And they may not be able to get out with this. Now for Falls, shy with the trade.
Can he run towards A? He doesn't have the read to go towards A because they haven't cleared the site right now. 2 players are walking in spawn. I was thinking to myself, Leviathan doesn't get into scrappy situations very often, but
My ult is ready.
It looks like they're making some interesting decisions. Shy just doesn't have the info to go and to A long. Finally, King as well comes through spawn. That's not what you expect. And Leaf, 1v1.
Taking a little bit of damage.
Dude, they are literally playing a 1v1 that you set up in custom games where all 3 sites are enabled right now because you have no clue where either side is coming from. Except
King.
Leaf knows he has to go local to the spike.
And there's still so much ground you have to cover. But there it is. He sees it. The spike.
30 seconds left.
Well within reach. Time is plentiful, but he's not looking the right way now. He is. He grabs the spike. He spots the gun barrel. Spam, but Leaf still swings out and gets the kill. I mean, call him King Midas. Everything he touches turns to gold.
It's ridiculous.
Let's end this.
He's in his element. That's such a tough shot for King to go for, actually, after he falls off that step. I think he wants to approach and use the ability of the unknown. Instead, he actually tries to go for the spam. And you don't expect Leaf to peek there, but Leaf puts himself into the only position on the map there that watches everything.
Just so far ahead. Literally everything. Cloud9 series point.
This
could be the finisher. Yeah. It certainly looks like that'll be the case.
He just used a dart at the beginning of the round and insta ults. The dart gets broken and he still finds damage. I mean, what a read there. That was just completely knowing exactly what they're going to call. And the tendencies that Leviathan has shown so far, and maybe what they haven't shown, the fast C hit has not been called. I'm actually surprised that we get to this position without a timeout. Out of owner's side, because...
Me too.
Deploying drone.
Now they're down 2, and Cloud9 just simply... In these positions, they're able to easily overcome, even smoking the dart.
Smoking the dart so that Zelsis can stay where he was.
And they didn't have information exactly about Zelsis there.
It's just so clean.
Jake info
30 seconds left.
Doesn't get too much, but I think Zeppa now especially. Leviathan never go into sites without giving info up first. It just never happens. It happened maybe 1 or 2 times against Crew, and that's why I was kind of excited to see some evolution. But it's just not happening here against Cloud9, and they needed a lot of it.
It's well done by Nosler.
They're back in it. 2 players down in dark.
Certainly gotten a step closer, Zeppa. Considering dropping. He does. That's just so bold. A 2v2. Drops down to a 1v1. Rooney there. So freaking good. Rooney with 3. The series for Cloud9.
And that's a second seed, top 2, 100% clinched up for Cloud9. We already knew they were going to playoffs. We already knew they had a good chance in Tokyo, but right now they just locked it up in playoffs to have 1 match be the difference to carry them to Tokyo. And honestly, they've earned themselves a week of rest too. Final game will be against Crew.
What a wild ride it's been for Cloud9. And they're showing no signs of slowing down. No signs of stopping.
This team is insane. Josh said they might be. He made the very, very bold claim that they might be the second best team in the world behind Fnatic. And I think showings like this, where they're so decisive against some of the other top competition we have in America's League, is why there's credence to that statement. And how they've been able to do that, given the situation that they were at the beginning of the year, like King was talking about in one of the clips we showed earlier, is beyond me. A collegiate player, an IGL, who hadn't been played in VCT until he stepped on the stage at the beginning of the split, right there on your screen, and he closed this match out. Just crazy what this team is able to accomplish.
You know, I jokingly asked Leaf last week, do you get tired of winning? Do you guys get tired of winning the way that you're winning, the style in which you're winning? And he goes, not one bit. Not one bit. And once again, they replicate their performance that they've shown week over week. And it seems like they're getting better. They're doing the little things correctly. They have star performances out of Leaf. Rooney Sheriff is world renowned at this point. I mean, what can slow these guys down?
And they turned the hearts and the minds of many, I believe. But the performance of this team, the performance of the players, and the way the coaching staff has worked it, it's unbelievable. This team, not only with this win, locked up that top 2 seed, but also they end up with the best map differential in the league. Next week's match will not matter. And that means a lot, given how Loud has looked weak. They just lost their first series yesterday against NRG. And honestly, when you look at Cloud9 and the way they played, they have not dropped a map. They've only dropped 1 map in the last 6 series. 1 map.
I think the more you dig into it, the more it just looks worse, right? It just highlights more and more of how dominant of a performance it's been. They went from, are you guys going to win a series, right? At the very beginning.
I can't believe we thought that at the beginning.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
They've wooed everyone. They've become the darlings of Americas, and they take down another victim along the way. We're going to step away. We'll have the Verizon post-match interview and Death's breakdown right after this.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm standing here with Cupid from Cloud9, the 6th player here. Yes, bring it up here for the Verizon post-match interview, and congratulations on the win. I know you're standing in the sidelines when you're watching these games, but these must be like some very interesting and stressful games when you're sitting there and watching them play.
I think it's harder to watch than to play, honestly, at times. Like, you just don't have a lot of control, and it's just the one timeout that you have, or like 2 timeouts that you have, so it's more nervous watching them playing, actually.
Yeah. Well, I want to actually talk about the elephant in the room. What is with these bandanas? So I think like last week you came out with like a Shrek bandana. Now you had Zeppa coming out with like a Toy Story one. What's the story behind this one here, and why the bandanas?
I just like the bandanas on myself, and then Zeppa took one from me, started streaming with it. He likes it, so he took that one. I'm gonna order a bunch more, and I'm gonna try to have everybody wear one for the walkout, but I don't know if they'll want to, but I'm trying my best.
That's awesome. And let's talk a little bit about your career too, because you've been a player that's been grinding in the tier 2 scene out in Europe, and MC is always known to be like a great scouter for like bringing up young talent and also building teams. So how did you connect with MC, and how did your journey coming into NA start?
I was doing tryouts for like a bunch of tier 2 European teams, and the guard was playing, he was with the guard at the time, and he was in Iceland, and we were scrimming them, and we played 2 scrims. It was like 16-8 and like 20-4 or something like that. Like, we beat them really hard. Yeah. And after that, we just started talking, and I guess he liked my opinions about the game and the way I want to play the game. And then, you know, the tier 2 scene, you know, sometimes is not the best, so I decided like to take a year as a 6th man to learn as much as I can, because I want to, you know, become an IGL. And I'm still really young, so I'm just like taking this as an experience to just learn from him. And I think this is a team that I can learn from a lot, having people like Zelsis on the team. Like, there's just a lot to learn from this team. So that's kind of like my decision and how I came here.
Awesome. And also what I like too is, no matter what, you've secured at least a playoff spot a couple of weeks ago now, and now you secured the top 2, but you still wanted to bring some new things, some new flares to the team, including composition changes into the 2nd map. So now I'm seeing Zeppa playing into a Killjoy. What's going on here with C9's flexibility in the roles? Because I remember there was like some video of like MCE talking about like role issues. It doesn't seem like you have role issues right now.
I mean, basically, like, we try not to get complacent. So, like, even though we're winning a lot of matches, I don't like the theory of, like, don't change anything. So we're always trying to improve, because you can always improve. Even this game wasn't perfect. So we're just trying to improve, try new things at all times. And we're confident that, like, whatever we try, we have a week to prepare. So we have a whole week to try whatever we want. And I think it kind of worked out.
Yeah, and now you have a whole week to prepare against Crew, but also an opportunity to just maybe secure only 1 win to qualify for Tokyo. So I want to know, what's the schedule like for you outside of the server now that you're going to go home? I don't think there's going to be any time to relax. So what's it like here bringing up these strats with MCE?
We just work all day, I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot of work. I mean, we just come up with new ideas. We come in the morning, we talk about, okay guys, what do we want to try today? I'll come with some ideas, MC will come with ideas, players surprisingly will come with a lot of ideas as well. Leaf comes up with a lot of good stuff. So we'll just come up with ideas, agree on something, and we just like believe in it, and it usually ends up working because of that.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Cooper. I'm gonna do one small fist bump. Oh no, I was gonna do the snail, man. MC and I go like, I mean, I'm a boomer, so I like the snail jokes, but now we just kind of like we fusion. Thank you so much, Cooper. Congratulations once again for Cooper here with Cloud9, and let's send it back to the desk with Golden Boy.
I tell you one thing, they don't make them like Vansili anymore, man. They really don't. Oh, Tactibear is all feeling nice and good, perhaps ready for some cake. Oh, speaking of, we actually have Leaf here joining us, and the cake has returned again. Leaf, though, first and foremost, congratulations on the win. How did it feel to go out there and get the win the way that you did it against Leviathan, who many consider to be, you know, a top team, but you guys made it look simple?
I mean, obviously the scoreline looked pretty dominant, but I think that there were a lot of mistakes that we made in those rounds, and we kind of got, not bailed out, but like, it could have been cleaner, for sure, as weird as that sounds.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I mean, it feels fine, feels good. We needed to win one of our next 2 to get top 2 seed guaranteed.
Yeah.
And obviously, arguably, they're the tougher of the 2 between Crew and Leviathan, the last 2 that we have. So, I mean, a win's a win.
Yeah.
It feels like in these last few weeks, your read on the game has just been insane. As a team, sure, but on an individual level too. I know you did an interview where you were talking about the Neon and just how you were reading the map on Lotus, but today on the Jet too, everybody on Cloud9, yourself included, seems to be a step ahead of your opponents. What do you put that down to? And how does that compare to times in the past where maybe you haven't felt like that?
I think that I wasn't as comfortable in the chamber meta just because the way the game was played was just
honestly horrible. Like, it didn't really feel like a tactical FPS. It just felt like you throw something and like you hope that like something is there or it's not there.
Right.
So it's a lot easier now because people don't. They still gamble stack, but it's a lot easier to identify and stuff like that. And just the pacing and the momentum of the game, I feel like kind of caters more towards us than it does other teams. Obviously, we haven't played other regions with this 5, but I just think overall it helps us.
Yeah. Now, in thinking about the future and also what has happened as far as the development of this team goes, like walk me through like the team atmosphere a little bit, because you guys, I passed by you guys, you know, when you're out in the arena and stuff, you guys always seem to be hanging out together, chilling, vibing. Is that the atmosphere in general across the board? Do you feel like it's become this fun, familial atmosphere, or do you feel like everyone's there with a common purpose? What is it like?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody's pretty good friends. I mean, we practice, you know, for however many days in a row, and like we live together and stuff like that. So it's definitely like we have to be friends. If we hate each other, then it's just like, you know. But we're not like forcing it, obviously. Like, well, naturally, we're all like. I think Jordan Zelsis is like one of the most like likable people, in my opinion. Like, I think that like anybody can get along with him in a team environment because he's dedicated. Like, he does whatever he wants, and then like everybody else, like just normal people. Like, we don't got a bunch of weirdos on our team. So, it's pretty easy to just talk.
Yeah.
It seems like there's been a very decisive idea on the team to keep Jake and Rooney as comfortable as possible on their roles while everyone else flexes around to do all sorts of stuff. Is that a kind of mentality that you've brought into other areas where you three with the more experience are trying to help them out in other places and just allow them to focus on their roles? Can you speak a bit to how you've helped them acclimatize to the tier 1 level?
I mean, yeah, I mean, like you said, we try to make them comfortable, but it's also just like giving ideas. Like, there's a lot of things that work in lower tiers that don't really, they work, but it's a lot easier to recognize and abuse in tier 1 and stuff like that. And I think that getting them like more stuff to do on their agents, like even if you've played Omen like every single time, you can still find cool one-way or like a cool Omen TP play and stuff like that. So there's definitely stuff like that. And I have a lot of experience personally, and Zelsis does, and Zeppa, on every single agent, really. Like, I started off the game playing Sentinel, I played Smokes, and then I played Duelist, and then I played Sentinel, and then I played, you know. So I've played every agent, basically, and I watch a lot. I don't really play a lot, I watch, but, so I know, like, general stuff about most agents.
Right.
I don't have a question for you, but I just want to say I'm so proud of you. You've come so far, and you know, thinking back to like our CS days, and you're only 19. You have such a like bright and long, like amazing career ahead of you, and yeah, I'm just so happy to see you do so well on stage.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I speak for all of us here. I mean, it's the first time I think that we've had an opportunity, you know, to like chat. Well-spoken, mature, you got a good head on your shoulders, brother. You're going to go very far. Just keep on the path the way that you guys are doing right now, and I have no doubt in my mind that we're going to be singing your praises for many, many years to come. But that said, though, Leaf, there's a cake here. There's a cake here.
Cut the cake.
Josh wanted to cut the cake.
I didn't want the cake.
You know
Golden
what?
Boy gave me the cake.
Because he said I was a child and I couldn't bake a cake, and I baked the cake. So, Josh, why don't you go ahead and cut this cake with Leaf? Huh?
I feel like Leaf should be cutting the cake here. Do you want to cut it together?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll cut it together.
Look at this.
That's
There you
really
go.
lovely. Oh,
gorgeous.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Can we cut a slice and feed it to Golden Boy, in fact?
Yeah, actually, you could go ahead and do that. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
I don't really understand.
I'm sure Joey would be perfectly fine with the lavalier getting.
It's Cloud9 blue on the inside.
That looks delicious.
Okay, here. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. It's a bright blue cake. It's actually do want to give a special shout out to our producer, Alex, and her friend who actually made this cake. I did not make it.
You know?
I don't know. I'm going to taste it right now. Oh, man, that's good. That's good. Well, folks, I think I'm just going to call this show right here. Hopefully I didn't spill anything. But that's basically going to do it for us with Week 7 coming to an end. Let's go ahead and check out the standings while I go ahead and chew this cake. Josh, talk.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the standings, you do have Leviathan losing, right? So you've got that weird 4-way tie in the middle. We went through the tiebreaker rules earlier, but there's still matches to be played. And Leviathan, they're going up against Loud. That is going to be a difficult one.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I don't think anyone would have expected Leviathan and Sentinels to both be outside of the playoff picture when the year began. But that's where we are.
How crazy is it, though? It is. This week was all NA on top. Belief, that has to make you feel pretty good, especially considering the narrative in the beginning of the season where everyone's like, I don't think an NA team's going to qualify for playoffs. And here you guys are dominating the scene.
I mean,
you're good.
We're good.
We're good. I love it. I like this guy. He's a good dude. All right, folks. Playoffs on the horizon. Week 8 is going to be kicking off a little bit earlier than usual. We're actually going to be back Thursday with 2 more matches. We have Sentinels taking on Furia, as well as NRG versus Evil Geniuses. That Sentinels Furia game is going to be very interesting to watch because, if I'm correct, both teams need that win in order to make or in order to contend. Isn't that right, Sideshow?
Yes, yeah. All of these games are now insanely important, unbelievably important, because that playoff picture is just ties upon ties, and you don't want some random tiebreaker to decide whether or not you make it to playoffs. That would just be heartbreaking.
Or you could just be like Cloud9, in control of your own destiny.
Yeah, wind the clock back 3 weeks, and then start winning your games back then, and then you can be like Cloud9.
Oh, man. Benita, thank you so much for joining us. You have fun?
Thank you so much. I had the most fun.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad. It's a pleasure to have you, and we hope that you join us again. And, of course, Leaf, man, anything you want to say to the people back at home, people watching? Floor's yours, buddy.
I don't know if anybody's going to be watching from home because they don't really understand Valorant, which I don't blame them because I barely even understand it. But, I mean, just thanks to everybody that watches us and supports us and stuff like that. And, I mean, now it's just Tokyo.
Yeah, oof, I love that. All right, well, Sideshow, always a pleasure, my friend. I'm actually going to be stepping away. I will not be here next week. Dash is going to be here, and he'll be handling business as he always does. But for now, that's going to do it for us here. I'm going to cut some cake, and you're going to watch the Prime Gaming post-day highlights. We'll see you next week, folks. Have a good one. Bye. Let's get this cake. Here we go.
I'm getting more cake.
Yeah. Benito, you want a slice? No! It's meal.
Thank you.
For Cloud9, it's about getting that win and getting one step closer to Tokyo. And for Leviathan, it's just about securing the dub here today and hoping that the shenanigans doesn't happen in the rest of the league.
King is finding more value. 1v1. Rooney pulls off, and Rooney gets the 1v1. He's just off of it. Mazzino down low. He gets 3, and Leviathan are going to get another round.
And the cycles for them to have all that up.
Rooney. How? How on earth did Rooney get that kill? A brutal spot to be in, a tough decision to make, and one that goes the way of Cloud9. They're fast with it, they're pacey, but Leviathan have a couple of strong members here that have been able to keep them back a bit. Got the fault line. He's going to take the fight, and they're both weak! They were both weak, and it's a clutch for Zelsis!
Looking like it might be a really good attempt from Leviathan to save, or actually get killed by the spike, but instead they're all going to fall. And now Seppa is getting up to his ult.
Straight back and forth, it's gotten into a 1v1. Leaf has struggled. Oh, but it's Seppa who plucks Taco out of the sky. So bold, a 2v2. Drops down to a 1v1. Rooney, there. So freaking good. Rooney with 3, the series for Cloud9.